So Trump came out with this post that is pretty important. Like, and I've done a lot of talks about Trump and his relationship to furniture and stuff like that. And this isn't a political thing. We're not talking about from a political standpoint. We're just talking about what Trump is talking about in this post that he made on, I guess it's Truth Social is this thing. So we're going to talk about that post, and I'm going to go over with you guys why Vietnam is crushing it in furniture and America's falling behind, right? And we're going to talk a lot about the corporations that are behind a lot of this kind of stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? The resources that Vietnam is pouring into its workforce to train its people so that they can prosper in this particular industry, right? And this is just like, what's that chip company, TSMC or whatever over in Taiwan. They did the same thing. Taiwan wasn't always a great chip maker. They haven't been making amazing chips all their lives. They invested in chips, and they really put a focus on creating a chips industry, and they did a great job, so now they have a chip industry. America can do the same thing, but we're choosing to focus on things that are essentially going to drive Americans out of work, right? And people will say, well, it's like when the automobile came in, they, put the carriage industry out of business. And every time a new industry comes in, everyone thinks it's going to be the end of the world, and then new jobs are created. And I don't disagree with that, but it's still a problem, right? It's still something we need to talk about. So as a furniture maker and an American furniture maker, I'm going to tell you guys what's really going on behind the scenes as it pertains to the furniture industry, okay? So my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Splendid Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a small furniture boutique company. We do probably 500 pieces a year. We ship them all over America. We have a really great client list. We do a lot of work in the Northeast, New York, Connecticut, Manhattan, Massachusetts, Connecticut, these kind of places. We do a lot of work in Miami, Florida. We do a ton of work down in Texas, of course, and we just ship everything everywhere. We're starting to move stuff to the West Coast a little bit. We do a lot of painted furniture, right? We do a small 7 figures. It's a great middle-class living, and we train people how to sand furniture, how to assemble furniture, how to make furniture, paint furniture, all these kind of things, how to deliver furniture. And it's a great business, great way to make money. And as a American furniture manufacturer and a maker of fine furniture, it pains me to see what's going on in the furniture industry today. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I I printed off this post, right? So I'm going to read this post to you guys real quick, and then we're going to go over it. And I'm going to tell you guys, I literally got pages of stuff here about what's going on with furniture and why Vietnam is such an existential threat to this particular industry, So we'll start with, okay, I'm going to read old Trump's post here on his Truth Social thing, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so it says, I'm pleased to announce that we are doing a major tariff investigation on furniture coming into the United States. Within the next 50 days, the investigation will be completed. The furniture coming in through countries used in the United States will be tariffed at a rate yet to be determined. This will bring the furniture business back to North Carolina, South Carolina, Michigan, and the states all across the union. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so that's the thing about furniture. Furniture's been around since the founding of our country. It's one of the oldest industries that we have here in America, and it's still an industry today to where a normal person can make a really good living. It's one of these things that that MBAs and really educated business people haven't figured out exactly how to get rid of entirely, right? They haven't figured out how to put all those excess profits in their pockets and in their shareholder pockets, because it takes a lot of skill, right? So what you have going on right now is you have the country of Vietnam has partnered with a lot of American furniture manufacturers to teach these people, okay? They're taking their trade and their craft and they're bringing it across the ocean, right? They're bringing it over there, and they're teaching these people how to make furniture. And the people of Vietnam love this. They're really good at it, and it's fantastic for that country. And I don't begrudge those people one bit. Like, you do you. If Vietnam wants to become the furniture mecca of the world, good for them. Like America used to be it. It doesn't want it anymore. It wants other things. Fine. Vietnam can have it. But as a American manufacturer, I'm going to push back, right? I'm going to press back because this is my industry. I've done this for 25 years. It's the only job I've ever had is making furniture. I've done it for the wealthiest people in the world. I've done it for billionaires, millionaires. I worked on all the most important jets in America. You can think of it. I've worked on it. My furniture is in it. I've done the floorboards in it. I've just done anything that has to do with wealthy people's jets, right? I've also made furniture for Congress people, celebrities, musicians, just all kinds of people. So I understand this industry probably better than most people. okay? Now, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is there are a lot of people in America that make furniture, right? North Carolina, South Carolina, Michigan, these are the places where most of your really high-end furniture and your more mass-made furniture is made, right? Companies like Century, companies like Theodore Alexander, Hickory Chair. In Michigan, you've got companies like Kindle. These are really old legacy companies, and no company deserves to be taken care of, right? No company deserves to be giving a lifeline like we did for General Motors, right? Remember that during COVID, those people, they should have went out of business, but we decided we're gonna, save that company, right? We saved GM, all these kind of things. Truth is that company should have went out of business. And this is the same thing for all these furniture companies. Now, if other countries are actively coming after American industries, that's a different discussion. And that's really what's going on. And the problem is that we have too many American companies that are aiding in these countries, taking your jobs away, right? They're taking your kids' jobs away. They are actively working to basically steal an entire industry from America, right? Which means that the only people that are gonna be left to do this work are gonna be people like myself, right? It's gonna be my buddy Martin Goebel up the road. The people that, we make $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 pieces of furniture that take weeks to build. We're the only people that are gonna be left in America if we don't fix this issue with Vietnam, okay? So now, let's get back to the main issue, okay? So I read you guys Trump's tweet, and I'll read through comments with people. We'll kind of go back and forth with you guys. But if you're in the stream, hit the like button. Let's kick this around to people. Let's get more people hearing about what's really going on in the furniture industry from someone who's in the furniture industry, right? Like, I'm not some guy that got an MBA in business and then took over a furniture company. No, we started a furniture company. We actually make the stuff. We do it all right here in St. Louis, in America. All of our shit is here in America. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay? That's the perspective that I'm coming from. I don't have an education. I never went to high school. I literally just busted my ass forever to grow this thing. I've had 3 failed companies, finally got a good company. My wife started the company early doing lacquer. I brought in all my furniture skills, and we've grown this thing to where we have 8, 9, we might even 10, I think we got 9 employees at this point. And we've had as many as 22 employees during COVID. So we need people to be able to start businesses that don't have, impressive educations, don't have a pedigree of, my dad this and my grandfather did this and now I'm gonna do it. All these legacy issues that we have in America today. Okay, so we're gonna talk about all these issues, guys. Like, this is probably the topic that I am most passionate about, and it really, like I said, it really bothers me to see what's going on today, because we have an idea about what furniture really is in America, and I'm here to tell you guys that most of it is not made here. The vast majority of furniture is not made in America. Fine furniture is not made in America. Cheap furniture is not made in America, right? And you could say, well, again, you're not special. You don't have a right to be able to make furniture in America. You have a right to be able to have any kind of a business. And again, I completely agree. But you don't need your own people selling you out, right? Which is what we've had going on for damn near 30 years at this point. So okay, so we're gonna start with Vietnam. So I tagged this thing, Vietnam versus basically American manufacturing. Okay, so Vietnam is a country that kind of came out of nowhere, to be completely honest with you. I think most people only know Vietnam because of the Vietnam War, right? North and South Vietnam, and the whole situation that went on there, right? So here's what you guys need to know. So right now in Vietnam, you have several massive corporations over in Vietnam that are making furniture, okay? Now, what you guys need to understand, which again, most people don't understand this, okay? When I talk about a company that makes furniture, like take a very well-known company, like take Restoration Hardware, right? We all know Restoration Hardware, right? It's supposedly a high-end furniture brand. You see them in all the malls. They're in, they're like, what are they called? They're like one of those anchor stores in malls, like Macy's used to be, and JCPenney used to be, and Sears, and all these kind of stores. Well, these guys, most of their case goods are made in Vietnam. All right, so what these companies do is, it's not like Restoration Hardware has its own factory in Vietnam, right? It's not like Crate and Barrel has its own factory in Vietnam, right? It's not like, here's some of the other companies who are, Ashley Furniture, right? We all know Ashley Furniture has its, factory over there, okay? What they do is they partner with these mega corporations that are making furniture, okay? So here's a couple of them. All right, you got a company called AA Corp, okay? And you guys can get on Google, you can get on Grok, you can look all this stuff up. This is exactly where I got it from, okay? You got a place called Kaiser Furniture, right? No one's ever heard of Kaiser Furniture because, again, it's not a well-known furniture company. It is a conglomerate manufacturer, right? You have other ones called, there's one called Ming Dong Furniture, right? I can't even pronounce the name, but point is that they take other companies, they bring all their designs into this massive factory, and that's all they do is make furniture for lots of different companies, okay? You got another one called, who is this? This is called Scorecom International. We got Interwood Vietnam, right? And then we have a company called WoodNet, right? And so these companies are massive companies. And all they're doing is taking everyone in America that has a massive furniture presence, and they're taking all their designs and they're mass manufacturing all their shit there, and then it's being sent back to America, okay? So these are the things that you need to know about what's going on in Vietnam. Now, the other thing you have to say is, why are these companies taking their intellectual property, right, their IP, and sending it to a frickin' third party to make it? Like, who in their right mind would do that? One of the most wild things you can do as a manufacturer is to give your designs and your processes and everything to somebody else. Like, it's basically death, right? Like, my faux bamboo that I make is completely proprietary. I won't give it to anybody. I'll show you guys, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that as to how I make it, but I'm not giving my cocktail away to anybody because it's what allows me to keep a competitive advantage over everybody else in the faux bamboo furniture space. But these companies willingly give this shit away. The reason they're doing this is because everything that makes America great does not exist in these other countries, specifically Vietnam, specifically China. Does not exist there, okay? So when you go to work, you have, you know, if your boss comes up to you and your boss says, you know what, you fucking dirty, disgusting piece of shit, I fucking hate you, I'm gonna kill you, okay? You can immediately go to a lawyer and say, hey man, some crazy stuff happened to me at work, and I'm not sure how I think about it. You know, we need to kind of look into this, right? You have a legal recourse if your employer says something like really nasty or threatens you or anything like that. Okay, in Vietnam, none of those rights exist, all right? So when you go to work and you have an open blade, you know, tools that aren't being repaired, everyone's drinking on the job, there's no safety, anything, you have recourse. You can go to OSHA, you can go to the EPA, you can go to your state level, your federal level, your county level, your local level, your city level. You have so many opportunities to make sure that where you're working is safe. These things do not exist in Vietnam. They do not exist in countries like China, right? So all these things do not exist there, okay? Now, when you go to your boss and you say, you know what, boss man, I've really been cranking out a bunch of stuff for the last year, like my numbers are way up, my production's way up, like I'm doing great quality work here, I'm showing up all the time, I'm teaching other people, you just start laying it out what you're doing. You can go to your boss and your boss has to say, well, yeah, you know, you're kind of right, you're kind of an important employee. I may have to give you some form of compensation. I may have to increase your compensation, whether that's benefits, wages, bonuses, whatever, right? Vietnam, that stuff does not exist. In China, that stuff does not exist, okay? So, all these things that happen here in America do not happen over there, which is why they're sending all of this furniture work to these other countries, okay? And you say, well, why? Why not just make it here? Like, what's the big deal, okay? The truth is that most people can't afford furniture, right? Most people can't afford to buy anything today because your dollar has been diminished so much by printing excess dollars for essentially 15 years at this point, right? Your dollar is worth nothing. And most of us in the world, the 80% here, we operate paycheck to paycheck for the most part. You know, you have a good week, you might have a good month, you know, but for the most part, we operate in that space. We spend everything that we make, right? Which means that we get less value for every single dollar that we spend. Meanwhile, the wealthy are just buying assets. They're buying tons of these appreciating assets that basically bring in passive income, and they're just getting rich hand over fist, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with that, you know, but we don't have the ability here to be able to buy shit, you know? So what we've got going on is we have just this situation where we can't afford many things in America today, right? The federal government has aligned with these mega corporations to make sure that no industry ever has hard times, right? When the auto industry was going belly up because they fucking pissed away all their money, they gave it all to buy back shares, they pissed it all away on poor choices, whatever that might be, the federal government said, you know, we're gonna come and we're gonna save these companies. You know, I think Ford was the only one that actually bailed themselves out, but we didn't let those industries go bankrupt, which we should have, right? It's the same thing in the furniture industry. If we make a poor product, it's too expensive, it's a poor quality, these kind of things, we should all go out of business. But that's not what's happening, right? What's happening is very nefarious. You basically got a bunch of educated people that came in and they see value in exporting labor, right? So they say, instead of paying you whatever $20 to $30 an hour to do something that takes you years to develop as far as skills go, right? Which they then have to compensate you for over the next decade, they send it over to China, right? Where they pay $1 an hour, $2 an hour. They send it to Vietnam where it's $2-3 an hour. No benefits. They don't have to worry about the taxes. They don't have to worry about taking care of the people. They don't have to worry about retirements. They don't have to worry about benefits. They don't have to worry about jack shit, right? And the MBA, right, the person at the head of the company, looks like a fucking superstar because he's able to take the profit and loss statement, right, the balance sheet, and he's able to make one side look higher than the other side, right, which means he gets paid, he can send more money to his shareholders, and you have to go work for McDonald's because your skills are no longer valuable in America anymore, okay? So, what are you left to do? Well, you're left to go do DoorDash. You're left to go do, you can work at McDonald's. You know, you can do some kind of kitchen work. You might be able to get an Amazon job, you know, because there's only like 5 or 6 massive corporations left in America. You notice everybody does DoorDash. Everybody works at a fucking Amazon warehouse. Everybody does these McDonald's jobs, you know, these bullshit jobs as we call them, because there's nothing left to do. Nobody has any skills because no jobs today require any real skills, okay? A carpenter, real skills. Electrician, real skills. Welder, real skills. A frame carpenter, real skills. A roofer, real skills. Furniture maker, real skills, right? These are tangible skills that you can take anywhere in America and make a good living, right? But if they take all those jobs and they move them over to Vietnam, the only place you can go is fucking Vietnam, you know? So we got a real problem with these corporations basically stealing jobs and sending them overseas. Okay, now, the disgusting part about it is, like, you can get on YouTube right now and you can just Google Vietnam furniture manufacturers. And you'll see all of these companies here in America. They're just basically jerking off at the idea of, well, look at this great factory. We're teaching all these people over here. We're providing all this, you know, revenue and skills, and it's great for the country of Vietnam. And then we get to bring that product, and it's cheaper here in America. More people can afford to buy furniture. This is the massive fallacy, this idea that everything is going to get cheaper and everything should get cheaper. I'm here to tell you guys, not every product in your life should be cheap. Not every product in your life should get cheaper, right? This is a fallacy that you can have fucking Amazon packages show up, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 a day because it's dirt cheap, right? This is a thing that you were sold that has basically cost you everything, right? It's cost you guys everything, and we need to, at some point, push back on this kind of thing. And I'm here to tell you guys, Donald Trump is going to push back, right? And I've told you guys, I've talked many times about his connection with Lexington Furniture, right? Lexington Furniture, Lexington is a town in Kentucky. This is a furniture company that this man has partnered with to create furniture for his hotels. He's also partnered with other companies. I got to read it to pronounce the name. It's like Doyle or Doya or something. Doria Furniture, okay? I've actually was gonna make one of his credenzas because it's really high-end brass and lacquer. His furniture is literally the kind of furniture that we make, right? And he has talked many times about how North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Michigan, all these states have been sold out by the very fucking companies that were started in these states, right? The founders no longer exist, so the college-educated shitbag comes in there and sells out the fucking business to Vietnam so he can put more money in his pocket, more money in his shareholders' pocket, and it is fucking disgusting. It makes me sick as a furniture maker and a small business owner in America who works 60, 70 hours a week to make this motherfucker work. I am done with these so-called smart people selling out our country so they can make some fucking money in their stock, right? They can have a great EBITDA. Like, no one gives a fuck about an EBITDA. A small business owner isn't worried about EBITDA. He's worried about making frickin' payroll every week. Like, these are the things that real people care about, and we're letting these corporations sell your shit over into other countries, and I've fucking had it, guys. I am so furious about this, okay? Now, let's go over the companies that are selling out America, okay? I'm gonna go over all of them for you, and every one of them operates in Vietnam, right? They also operate in Indonesia and China, okay? These are the people that are selling out your country, okay? I go to High Point most years to go see what's new in the furniture game, to go see what's new in the smalls, the mirrors, the couches, the whatever. And I'm here to tell you guys that more and more shit is from other countries. And they're basically trying to bring it into America, add a little bit of value to it, and sell it to you for a fuck ton of money. And it's bullshit. If there are more people that know how to make furniture, there are more people that know how to make anything, repair things, you don't need to buy that cheap garbage bullshit. You don't need it. We don't want that crap. You're not doing yourself a favor by letting some foreigner make your products here in America, because guess what? When your fucking job's gone, you're not gonna have anything to do because you have no skills. Your job is accounting. Your job is customer service representative. Your job is data analysis. These are bullshit jobs, people. They are bullshit, and oh my God, okay? I'm gonna pause for a second, and then we're gonna go over all the companies that make all their shit in all these other countries. Their stock prices are through the roof because they're fucking you in the ass, okay? So, sorry guys, this is a very uncensored conversation, because it's a live stream and we can do that, you know? So I'm here on Saturday working, you know, whatever, a millionth day in a row of trying to make furniture, okay? Oh yeah, here you go, guys. Check this out. Here's what I made today, okay? Look, it's a Greek key drink tray, right? And why did I make this? I'll tell you why I made this. Because somebody came to me and said, hey, Eric, guess what? People are selling drink trays for like $700, right? And I go to this place, it's called the Lacquer Company, okay? You guys can go online right now and fuck these people, fuck all these people. Like, I'm tired of this foreign-made bullshit coming into America and then upcharging it and selling it for a fortune to everyone. The business owner gets rich because he thinks he's intelligent by getting all the shit made overseas and then selling to you as something that's a luxury good. It's not a luxury good if it's made in China. It's not a luxury good if it's made with fucking slave labor, guys. I'm here to tell you guys, these people they're insane. They're absolutely insane, okay? So, let's go through comments real quick. Then we're gonna go over these companies. Fuck all these companies. I'm gonna go through them. I've been to all their stores. There's nothing exceptional about any of them. Our furniture blows these people away. Blows them all away. Our customer service, 10 times better. Here's how you know if a furniture company is legit or if they're a bullshit company. When you get a return, right, when you have a problem with your furniture, do they come fix the problem or do they fucking send you another piece of furniture? That's the test. Because guess what? If you make your stuff here in America, you can't afford to just send a random piece of furniture. You don't have 10 pieces just sitting in the warehouse ready to get shipped out. Pottery Barn, Restoration Hardware, Crate and Barrels, CB2, all these motherfuckers, they've got tons of it because every piece of furniture that they make costs $10 because it's made in fucking Vietnam. The most expensive thing they have to pay is the tariff and the shipping to get it back into America. So, anyway, sorry guys, there you go. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, Sun's in here, and man, I know this is gonna be a crazy one, guys. I don't suffer fools when it comes to furniture. I'll call it anybody. Like, I'll call it, if you're making a piece of furniture and you've got an army of people to support the making of your piece of furniture, you got massive customer service departments, you've got, you know, massive people that deal with shipping your shit in from foreign countries, you've got massive engineering teams, like, you're the problem, okay? So, all right, Sun's in here. Sun, you're always here, dude. I appreciate you being here. This is a conversation about furniture today, clearly, and about how we're being affected by, how tariffs are gonna affect furniture and what the Trump administration is doing. And I'm here to tell you guys that Trump understands the furniture industry more than anything. I know there's a lot of people with TDS out there that just think, well, immediately Trump, anything he says is bad. I'm telling you guys, don't think about the politics of it. Just think about what the man has done in the furniture industry, okay? It's very well documented that Trump is extremely passionate about furniture. He is integral in the designs of the furniture for his hotels, or at least he was. He probably is in today. But he understands these different kinds of companies. And I'll go over the companies with you guys. Like, I literally have them written down. But I think that the hammer is going to get dropped on these American companies selling out their country, you know? And I'm here to say, like, you guys don't want to make furniture here in America? Get the fuck out of here. Like, go away. There's lots of people that would love to make furniture, but we can't compete when you guys are selling credenzas for $500, when you're selling credenzas for $2,000. No person can afford to pay their mortgage, put their kids in school, make their car payment after the federal government devalues the fucking dollar so much that it's literally not worth anything. It's worth nothing, right? And then they're gonna ship your jobs overseas and give the people that do it tax breaks. All these people get fucking tax breaks to send your jobs overseas. That is horseshit, guys. Okay, son, let's see, I have cancer. Okay, great, you got cancer, dude, fantastic. Get out of the discussion. We're gonna talk about furniture today, we're talking about tariffs, we're talking about the selling out of America by large corporations and MBAs, right? These are people with masters in business, right? These people have never started a company in their lives, but they come in and they streamline operations. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'll show you guys, this is streamlining operations, and I'll talk to you guys about that. Someone may have to remind me, but I'll tell you how this piece of trim is used in many different of my product lines. I've got faux bamboo trims that are used in many different product lines. That's streamlining, okay? Taking someone that was making 25 bucks an hour, telling him that, you know, he can go get fucked, and then we're gonna send his job over to Vietnam where a guy gets paid $2 an hour is not progress, guys. It's not, you're not doing people a favor. You know, it's not, you're not a rock star or a, you know, the savior because you saved your company by selling out all your people and basically sending that company overseas, right? You have that great American name, but all your shit's made over there. You're not a hero, you're a charlatan, you know, and that's what we need to call these companies out because they're destroying this industry, okay? So, okay, let's see, Son says, actually, you are so right about this. Yeah, okay, what is EBITDA? EBITDA is earnings, earnings before depreciation, amortization, and taxes. I forget all the acronyms, but it's basically what these fucking smart people use to basically determine whether or not their company is moving in the right direction, right? And it's fantastic if you're a multinational, corporation. It's great. You want to do that kind of stuff? I've got no problems with that, you know, but you can't do it on the backs of your country, okay? When you're getting tax breaks to send jobs overseas to supposedly give an American a cheaper product, it's a lie, guys. It's a fucking lie. This idea that people need to be able to buy multiple pieces of furniture a year, you should be able to buy 30 or 40 pieces of clothing a year, like this is what has literally taken the middle class and crushed it, right? And then on top of that, these companies that should have went out of business a long time ago, the corporations that should have went out of business a long time ago, the U.S. government comes in and basically saves them, right? Gives them a lifeline. You know, AIG, GM, like these are insurance companies that should have went fucking bankrupt. Automotive industries should have went bankrupt. Investment companies should have went bankrupt, but they get saved, right? They're too big to fail. You guys remember the too big to fail thing? Everything's too big to fail except for the middle class worker, right? It's so disgusting, guys. Okay, a few more comments, then we're gonna go back to. Basically, I'm gonna roast all of these American furniture manufacturers. I'm gonna roast every fucking one of them, okay? Okay, Son says, 400% tariffs on plastic Temu garbage. Well, again, I've got no problems. If Temu wants to operate in America, like great, let them. Again, this isn't about foreign countries wanting to sell their products into America. That is a good thing. I mean, think about it. Think about Etsy, guys. Like, Etsy is pretty common platform, I think, at this point. So if you want to sell on Etsy, it's like you can't just throw your shit on Etsy and then sell it, take the money and run, right? Etsy is going to let you put your stuff on there, but then when you make a sale, right, Etsy is going to take a portion of your sale to cover its costs, to cover marketing, to cover its profits, all these kind of things. And that's how business is supposed to work. America is essentially an Etsy, right? If Temu wants to sell its cheap bullshit into America, great. You can sell, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. So instead of that cheap bullshit $8 piece of garbage, maybe it's going to be $15, $16, $18, whatever it might be. There's no problem with that. But you're going to pay to operate in this market, right? Right now, American companies are getting incentivized to send your jobs overseas. It's fucking crazy. It's absolutely crazy, guys. And it needs to stop. Like, it's getting so bad. And again, I'm not worried about, like, my business, like, good luck. I'll outcompete anybody. Yeah, if you want to make better furniture than I do, you want to market better than my wife, you can't do it. I'm here to tell you guys, there's not anybody on the stream or that will see this video that can do what we do. There's no foreign company that can do what we do, right? Because it's so goddamn hard. It is so labor intensive and dirty, and just the sheer amount of bullshit that we have to deal with to deliver our products all over the country, nobody's gonna do it. So I've got no concerns. Restoration Hardware's not gonna take my fucking work. I'm not worried about Crate and Barrel Pottery Barn, Williams Sonoma, Ashley Furniture. None of these people are gonna do what I do. It's too goddamn hard. It's too hard. Plus, we can move so fast because we don't have 10 layers of management, and tell me that, how does a company with 10 layers of management make any fucking money, right? They do it because they send all the work overseas. It's like, of course you can pay a CEO 1,200 times what the average worker's making. He's got a lot to manage with operations over in a whole nother country. Like, you kidding me? Or 2 other countries. Like, that person should get paid a ton of money. I personally think it's super difficult to do all those things, but to do that here in America, no way. So, okay, let's see, Warco's in here. Is it Warco? No, Warco. Okay, good to see you, dude. Would tariffs allow you to raise prices, sell more, or both? Okay, Warco, so I've done many talks on how tariffs affect my business personally. So here's how it works. So tariffs, because I sell a multitude of products, tariffs affect me in many different ways. Okay, so the bulk of my business, say 80% of my business is, no, I take it back. Let's go back. Let's say 50% of my business is making American-made furniture. All my lumbers, hardwoods, all my turnings, hardware, paints, veneers, glues, all that shit is made in America, okay? So the tariffs don't affect me at all. Now, where people tend to get a little bit simplistic is all of those American companies where I get all my stuff, they may use foreign machinery. They may use foreign IT, foreign accounting services, whatever. So they could see some increased costs, which then may translate into me seeing costs. So when I say tariffs don't affect me, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about when I buy stuff, right? It doesn't really affect me on the products that I sell, right? The goods that make up my products that come in, the inputs, could potentially go up in price, right? And I have no control over that. So again, American-made product, tariffs not affected. Okay, now, I do sell vintage hardware. Vintage hardware is or vintage furniture is probably 30% of my business. This is all furniture that was made 30 to 50 to 100 years ago, right? No tariffs. The paints that I use to paint all this stuff, it's all made in America. It's all Sherwin-Williams paint. It's made in Baltimore, Maryland, right? Not an issue, okay? My hardware, however, is made in India, okay? So we make a lot of high-end brass hardware. We design it, I do all the CAD work on it, and I send it over to my manufacturers in India, and then I go back and forth with those motherfuckers because for whatever, like, I've been doing this with them for years at this point, and they still have gobs of questions. My engineering's off, my PDFs are off, my drawings are off. There's always some kind of freaking, the increments that I use are incorrect. I need to put things in millimeters when I have them in inches, or centimeters when they need to be in pounds. Like, it's always like a crazy amount of back and forth. Okay, now that hardware coming into America, I think the tariff on that stuff is up to, it was 25%. It might be up a little bit more now because I know Trump was pissed at them because they were buying Russian oil and then selling it on the open market, right? They buy it at a discount because they don't give a fuck if America says, don't deal with Russia, because they're, a sovereign country. But anyway, point is that I think we're paying, it's 25 to, it might be as much as 50% at this point. So you might say, oh, 50%. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, here's how the tariffs really work, guys. So when you bring something into the country, you pay a tariff on that thing, right? So in my case, I bring in brass hardware. It's completed, it's done, right? I don't have to add anything to it. The inserts are in it, it's been polished, it's lacquered if it needs to be lacquered. It's literally completed, right? So I bring in a piece of hardware, say I sell that piece of hardware for $50, okay? Here's the thing. I paid $2 for that piece of hardware, okay? So what is that, a $48 difference? Okay, so if you make my tariff 50%, that means I'm gonna pay $1.25 extra for that piece of hardware, right? So instead of paying $2 for that piece I'm gonna sell for $50, I'm gonna pay $3.25, okay? So I don't give a fuck about tariffs, right? But business, big business, is literally trying to petrify you guys. They're basically saying, oh, tariffs are the worst thing ever. Gonna raise prices. It's gonna be more. It's gonna cost money. They are trying to terrify all of you as to what tariffs are gonna do to everything that you buy, okay? Here's the thing, guys. If you buy American-made shit, the cost doesn't go up. In fact, the cost will probably come down because we'll get more business, and then we can offer more products, right? When you can do things at scale, it allows you to get your costs down. You know, this is something that most people don't understand. The reason shit is so cheap in China, not only because of labor and of course Vietnam, it's because, like I was telling you guys earlier, it's not like Ashley Furniture has Ashley Furniture's factory in Vietnam. They're using one of these mega corporations like AA Corp. Them and a dozen other furniture companies using the same fucking facility to make all their furniture. It's called scale, guys. We can't do that here in America because all the fucking business is being sent over to across the ocean. And then you guys are buying it up because it's cheap. And I'm here to tell you guys that if that were applied here in America, we could compete more. You know, and you might say, oh, it's going to be less jobs, you know, and it could be less jobs. I'm not saying that it won't be, but I'm here to tell you guys that we did this shit 50 years ago before we went off the gold standard, and it worked out okay. You know, so you guys can completely disagree with me and think I'm full of crap, but tariffs they don't mean anything, guys. They don't mean anything. You know, the worst thing that happened to you guys the last 10 years was inflation from your government printing tons and tons and tons of money, like something like 10 or 12 trillion dollars, and just throwing it out into the marketplace and say, here you go, consumer, buy shit. And you're like, well, hey, why am I getting all this money? I didn't make anything. You know, they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter, just fucking go spend. And so you did. You went and you spent at all of these companies, right? Some of them make stuff in America, most of them don't. Most of them make stuff over in other countries, right? And their stock prices went up. Meanwhile, your life didn't get any better. You kept spending because you lived paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, the people that you're giving all the money to, they bought factories, they bought equipment, they bought houses, they bought more real estate, they bought buildings, they bought yachts, they bought stocks, they bought anything that would go up in value. Meanwhile, you're just spending fucking money to, you know, to get from day to day. You know, and this is the problem, guys. Like, I don't necessarily think that tariffs are the answer, but you guys could tariff things 200-300%. You know, and what big business will tell you guys is that the cost of everything is going to go up 200-300%. It's bullshit. Their costs aren't going up 200 or 300%, but the market will want to move so that corporations can continue to make massive profits. So the rich can continue to get wealthier, you know, and I don't blame these people. Like, this is the system. This is how it works. And I tell you guys this as someone who actually imports stuff. Like, I actually do this. And I make stuff here in America. This is why I tell you guys all this stuff. I'm not bullshitting anybody, okay? We need to go through our comments. We got to get on to these American furniture companies that are basically selling out America. Okay, so Warco, I hope that that helps. I know it's kind of long-winded, but you can't have these conversations, you know, being clear and concise like the responsibility bros and the finance bros that make all the YouTube videos. Like, this conversation, it's complex. But I'm telling you, as someone who actually does it, right? I'm not rich. I'm not the best at it. I'm just a normie dude, St. Louis, Missouri, that does this shit. Okay. Okay. Son says, I heard those H-1B visa are really messed up. Both to the visa holder who gets exploited and can't quit, and the American loses jobs and have them replaced. So H-1B visas are interesting. Okay. So you guys might not know this, but my wife and her entire family are from India, right? Where does most of the H-1B visas come from, right? Everyone always talks about India. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. H-1B visas, a lot of times, are for people that can do work that Americans, I won't say don't want to do, but haven't wanted to do. And this is the big problem, right? So these other countries, like India specifically, could you guys even imagine living in a country growing up where the idea, right, the goal of being successful was to get out of the country that you grew up in? Like, we can't even fathom that idea, okay? So people that grow up in India, and this isn't everybody, but this is a large part of the population there, their goal is to get the fuck out of there, right? Because these are places that, you know, you could have electricity 12 hours out of the day. You could have running water 12 hours out of the day. That shit still goes on in these, you know, third world countries that are becoming first world countries, okay? The idea that an H-1B visa is stealing an American job, there is some merit to that. Like, it's not I wouldn't say the majority are stealing visas, okay? But what's happened is in India, they have educated their population, right? Not just little tiny bits, like their fucking populations to do IT work, right? To be great managers and then get to America. Once you get to America, get your green card and then get your citizenship, you're golden. You'll make so much money, you can go back to India anytime you want, right? You've hit the gold mine. So I don't think enough Americans understand that that's really what's going on. Now, if America, instead of going for fucking gender studies degrees, American culture degrees, getting masters in, flute playing, all the bullshit degrees that we have here, if more people went and got educated on how to be a real manager, went and got educated on how to, get into the IT space, learned more about computer science and these things, these companies that we've all made popular would hire from America. But we don't have enough people here that want to do that shit. And it's easy to say, well, Americans can do that. And I'll be the first to say there is nothing that an American can't do, right? Or that an American won't do if you put enough money in front of them. And I firmly believe that. And I think that's the truth. I tell a story of my mom, right? My mom ended up retiring at 55. Like, she did so fucking well that she was able to retire early, and she's balling out of control, living the life she wants to live. She did great, okay? Basically in sales. That's all you guys need to know. But my mom used to pick strawberries, right? Have any of you people ever picked fucking strawberries? Okay, not the easiest job in the world. She did it for entire summers to make money. She got paid $2 a flat. If you don't know what a flat is, go on Google. Google what a flat of strawberries is. Okay, that's what my mom did, and that was when she was growing up. So that would have been in like the late 60s, early 70s, something like that. So again, we can still do that stuff here. We're not better than that. Granted, there's probably machines and technology that make it easier, but if you put $20 in front of a high school kid and say, hey, go pick some fucking strawberries, if there's a parent out there that doesn't say, get your ass out there and go pick some fucking strawberries, I put that on the parents, But that's what's going on, guys. We sent everybody to school. We told them they can do whatever they want. The parents didn't say, no, you dumb fuck. You're not going to go get a gender studies degree. You're not going to go, learn about literature. You're going to go do what I did, because guess what? I made a decent living. I pay the bills. See this house, see these cars, see that boat, see that vacation, see those nice fucking sneakers. I paid for all that shit. This is what I did. You're going to go do the same thing. But instead, parents are like, nah, go do whatever you want, go fly your flag, go be who you want to be, That's where we're at, guys. If we don't educate our people to do the work that is needed in our country, I don't blame any company for saying, fuck these people. I'll go get the people that are H-1B visas, right? You have to educate your population to take the jobs that are available. You can't just say, well, no, I want to learn about basket weaving. I want to go do a job in basket weaving. Like, there's no fucking jobs, guys. Go start your own company. Oh, I can't. No one will give me the opportunity. No, your job is dumb. You are dumb. Your idea does not work. Go back to the drawing board, try again. But that's not what we've done, guys. We have not educated our population to do the work. And then because we haven't educated our population to do the work, the businesses say, hey, government, we need some fucking help here. Otherwise, we're going to close up shop or we're going to go to another country. So the government says, well, great, let's get some people in here that can do this work, right? Instead of the government saying, hey, you know what? No more basket weaving, no more gender studies, no more, female revolutionary literature. Like, this is the stuff you can go to college for. You can go computer science, you can learn about IT, you can learn to be a manager, you can learn to weld, you can learn to code, you can learn to do the shit that we actually need in this country. Otherwise, we're not paying for your fucking degree. You can go work at McDonald's. We're not doing that. Okay, so, sorry guys, I'm very passionate about this topic because I think everybody needs to be able to own their own business. I think people need to be able to have the opportunities to do the work that is meaningful to them and have the opportunity to charge a decent amount of money to provide a great product or a great service. But you can't do it when all the smart people and the wealth people are taking your fucking jobs and sending them overseas. Okay, so, okay, a couple more comments, so we're gonna get back to our talk. So basically, son, H-1B visas, it's tricky. When Microsoft lays off 9,000 people and then puts out 4,500 applications for H-1B visa workers, that's not good. That looks really bad. I can tell you that there are people in my wife's family that came over here on visa programs, not the H-1B. There's actually visa programs that are above H-1Bs. These are for the really smart motherfuckers, right? The ones that got really good educations, that are really successful, there's different visas for those people. And those are the ones that I know about, okay? H-1B visas are the commoner visa, right? So there's different levels to this shit. But there are a lot of companies right now that are trying to bring in cheap labor because they don't want to pay American labor, right? They don't want to pay the benefits. They don't want to pay the taxes that they have to pay. They don't want to pay the higher wages they have to pay to American people. So yes, they can bring in that cheap H-1B visa labor. And because of the way the visa rules work, there's a lot of restrictions on, like, spouses can't work, which is really fucked up. If you lose your job, your visa status is in jeopardy. So there's a lot of compliance around not rocking the boat, so to speak, if you're an H-1B visa, because you don't want to get kicked out of here. You know, and with Trump's crazy, man. Like if he thinks you shouldn't be here, he'll fucking just boot you out. He'll ask questions later, you know, which I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it is what it is, guys. So H-1B visa is it cuts both ways, and that's like everything. Everything's a little bit tricky, okay? So, all right, next question. Okay, this is so stupid. Who is this? I was nice there. Okay, well, that's a great name, dude. What kind of content you putting out? Add to the discussion. Like, what is stupid? Let us know. Continue the conversation. I don't mind going back and forth with people. That's what we do on this thing. But we're going to have this conversation. We're talking about furniture. We're talking about manufacturing. We're talking about how corporate America in the furniture space is selling out the entire industry. Okay, so we're going to get to that next. Okay, who's this? Astrid Galactic. Okay, I hate to tell you this, but coders and many other worker science majors can't find jobs now. It's not those that are majored in women's studies. No, that 100%. I'm picking the kind of the outlandish, the kind of ridiculous things. That's what I'm doing. Yes, my daughter's going for computer science right now. Like, trust me, we've had the conversation that, hey, this might not be the profession to go in, okay? Like, trust me, there are a lot of professions that are potentially going to be outsourced, but that's AI, guys. I'm not talking about AI. Like, if you guys want to go down the AI rabbit hole, hit it in the comments. I'll tell you guys what the fuck's going on with AI, because again, as a company that has to create marketing material, that has to actually do sales, that has to know what's going on with video, audio, editing, all these kind of things. Like, we got a ton of video content. I can tell you guys what's really going on there. You want to know how YouTube videos are made? Like, you guys know what a VA is? Like, that's what we have, right? That's how we pay people to do all of our video editing. You think I'm going to fucking do that shit? There's other people that do that stuff. So it's tricky, guys. And I can have that conversation. So if you want to have it, let me know. Okay, all right. Okay, cool. I'm through the comments. And again, Astrid Galactic, if you want to have this conversation, continue it. Like, come back at me. I'm happy to go back and forth with you. And same thing with I was nice there. I'm happy to go back and forth with all you guys. But okay, so let's talk about these fucking furniture companies, right? Because this is my space. These people don't get enough blast, right? These people don't get enough. They don't get enough attention, I think, right? Their stock prices are through the roof, right? And they've got beautiful stores, right? But do you know what the cost is for all those stores, right? The cost is your retirement. The cost is your wage. The cost is your taxes. The cost is your job skills, right? The cost is your infrastructure. This is what those beautiful stores get, right? Like, this idea that, a lot of these massive furniture companies, when they go into a city, they go to the city and say, hey, you know what, city? We might want to put a store here, but what are you going to do for me? Right? It's not like, hey, we want to come in here because we got a great product and there's a great customer base here. It starts with, well, what are you going to do for me? You got some land for me? You got a facility for me? What do you got on those loan guarantees? Like, yeah, I know construction loans are running about 7% right now, but I sure could use a 0% interest for 10 years. I sure could use no taxes for 10 years. I'm going to bring all these jobs, right? And all these jobs that they're bringing are bullshit jobs. They're all bullshit jobs, guys, because the real fucking work is going overseas. So again, you can have the bullshit, hey, I'm here to sell you furniture today. Oh, I'm a furniture sales executive, right? They'll give you some bullshit name, right? And then you take that skill, right? And then you go to your next job and you're like, hey, I was a furniture executive, sales executive. And they go, fuck, so? That's a bullshit job. Here's $18 an hour. Meanwhile, if you would have been one of the people making the furniture, right? You're the guys that are making furniture for 10 years. You can go collect an $80,000 a year job and feed your fucking family. You can go buy houses. You can do what I did, make $100,000 a year making making cabinets for jets, right? So, and I can go anywhere in the world, right? Remember, I went all over the place making furniture because my skill is super tangible. And you can't bullshit it. You can't bullshit it. You know, it's like I worked on every fucking plane in the books. You want to know? Go look at the records, right? Because you can't be a fuck up to get these really good jobs. You know, you have to be able to pass FBI background checks. You have to do security checkpoints, right? You got people with guns around you when you get on certain planes. You know, you have to be able to go through, you know, security checks on the plane and then a security check off the plane. You know, but again, furniture sales executive, you know, maybe you make a little bit of commission. It ain't happening. But the real skill is getting sent over to China, to Vietnam, to Indonesia, to Thailand, all these places. So you know, okay, sorry. Yeah, like I said, this is my topic, guys. Like I could talk about this all day. Like I know anything you want to know about the furniture industry, aerospace, production, you know, high-end furniture. You want to know anything, I got it. Okay, so all right, who else we got here? Pedro's in here. Pedro Escalada, good to meet you, dude. Again, guys, if you're in the feed today, hit the like button, add a discussion, help YouTube kick this thing around. I would love for any of these fucking furniture companies to see this kind of stuff. I really would, guys. Okay, so here we go. What furniture companies are over in Vietnam right now? Since I titled Vietnam, we're not going to talk about China or any of these other countries, okay? So here's the big ones, all right? So I wrote them all down. First one, the Big Daddy, right? The one that brags about how they've got $100 million properties, right? $100 million properties for a store, but all their shit's made in Vietnam, right? That's Restoration Hardware. You know, Restoration Hardware, I think their stock price is something like $200 a share right now, you know? How many shares do you have? I don't have any, right? I can't afford them. They're too fucking expensive, okay? Restoration Hardware, well, I've got nothing against that company per se. I don't like what they're doing, okay? Now, one of the things you guys have to understand, when I say furniture, there are levels to furniture, right? There's distinctions. What I'm predominantly talking about is what are called case goods, right? This would be your credenzas, bookcases, you know, it could be desks, right? Buffets, dining tables, things of that nature, okay? Not talking about couches, right? Because truth is that most couches are made in America. The fabrics are made overseas, but the couches themselves, a lot of them are still made here in America. You know, and I don't know why that is, but it's just a fact. I got to lay it out there, okay? So I'm predominantly talking about case goods, okay? So Restoration Hardware is the Big Daddy, right? These guys, they have you know, billions and billions of dollars, and yes, they invest in their areas, they invest in factories, but most of their shit is being made overseas, you know, which is again a crime. I don't know what the CEO makes. You know, probably makes $50 million a year, right? Okay, so what's the next big one? You got one called, let's see what we got here. Room and Board. I've never even heard of this company. I actually had to Google this one. So this company, big company, they make all their shit in Vietnam, right? They're one of the big daddies in Vietnam, okay? The other one, Universal Furniture. Go on their website. Their stuff is amazing. They've got a beautiful website. Fucking Miranda Kerr is one of the people that has one of their collections. Miranda Kerr, one of the most beautiful women in the world, fucking Victoria's Secret model. Like, this was like in my spank bank my entire life. Like, to this day, I talk about Miranda Kerr with my wife. Like, when I talk about hot women, like, this chick is doing a furniture collection with Universal Furniture, okay? All made overseas. Every bit of it, guys. Like, what are we doing? Like, they're paying Miranda Kerr to be like, hey, Miranda Kerr, you want to design some furniture with us? And Miranda Kerr's like, oh yeah, I want to do some furniture. God, please let me do it. That's not how it works. It's not like, hey, Miranda Kerr, you want some money? And she's like, oh yeah, I'll take some money. Well, what do you think about furniture? I like furniture. Well, you going to design some of this stuff for us? Oh yeah, I like the color blue and I like this kind of fabric. And there's like, great, it's the Miranda Kerr collection. Here's $5 million. Meanwhile, she doesn't fucking know how to make a piece of furniture. No idea. Doesn't know the first thing about it. She knows as much about furniture as Chip and JoJo know about furniture, right? The Gaines's people, like those people, like holy hell, guys. Okay, another good one. Here's another great loved furniture company in America, okay? We got Crate and Barrel. I love these guys. I've gone in there numerous times. So let's go look at, you know, I think we're looking at like spoons, or not spoons, of course I would say spoons. Some kind of hard silverware. Some kind of silverware, you know. So we go in there, we look at stuff, and they've got a nice double-decker location here in St. Louis. You take the escalators up, and they got the bedding, downstairs like your outdoor furniture and all your cups and whatever you guys call all that shit. It's all made in Vietnam, every bit of it. You know, it's not made here in America. And again, I don't know about the couches and the fabric goods, right? Upholstered goods, as they call them. I don't know about those necessarily, but other case goods, they're all made over there. And it's not like Crate & Barrel has the Crate & Barrel factory. It's one of these fucking mega, massive corporations where they're making all the shit, right? Okay, another company. What's another company? CB2, which is essentially Crate & Barrel's sister, whatever it is. Crate & Barrel's brother, whatever you want to call it. The same fucking company, okay? We got Ashley Furniture, right? Which everyone always said to me was an American-made company, and they do make a lot of their stuff in America still. But what's happening is because these companies are such pussies that they're like, fuck it, you know, we've got to make this stuff overseas because we can't compete here in America, right? So if you want to, this is heartbreak, guys. You guys can get on you can Google furniture.com, right? Furniture.com. It's the place to go for the furniture industry. It's fantastic, fantastic source to learn about the furniture industry, especially if you live in places like North Carolina. So Ashley Furniture has made furniture here in America for a very long time. They're a very well-known company. I think at this point we've all bought Ashley Furniture, okay? What's happened with that company is because the federal government here in America will not say to any company, if you want to paint your furniture in Vietnam, they have to abide by the same rules as we have here in America, okay? They won't do that. So the American furniture company has to kind of weigh that, okay? It's like, well, do I want to go through all the EPA bullshit and all the OSHA bullshit in order to paint caustic, solvent-based liquids onto furniture? Do I want to go through all that shit? Or do I want to just send it overseas, okay? That's what's really going on here, okay? Do I want to pay a painter $35 an hour to paint, right? To paint furniture or to put lacquer coatings on, whatever it might be. Do I want to pay that person $35 an hour plus healthcare, plus, you know, if there's a 401k match, if there's, you know, we got to do FICA tax, we got Social Security, we got all the corporate employer, or this is a corporate employer tax on top of that. Do I want to put together a facility that is OSHA and EPA compliant? Or do I want to say fuck it and send it overseas? That's the big problem, guys, okay? Now, here's the story you guys need to hear about why every company in America is going to end up over in a foreign country, okay? Bassett Furniture. You guys just Google Bassett Furniture, guys. Bassett Furniture is an American furniture company. They make great furniture. I've sold hundreds of their pieces over the years, right? They make beautiful stuff. They've made faux bamboo furniture over the years. Like, they're just a great company, and they are a 100% American-made company, okay? Their stock price, last I looked, was about 18 bucks a share, okay? Remember what I told you guys Restoration Hardware's was? $200 a share, okay? Now, the reason there's this massive difference in stock price is because of the value that each company provides to shareholders, right? So, very difficult for Bassett Furniture to make a profit when they have to operate in America. Restoration Hardware doesn't have to play by the same rules, right? And they probably really worked on their shipping to and from Vietnam and Indonesia into America, right? So they're probably super good at that. Not really good at making fucking furniture, but really good at getting shit into a container, getting it onto some massive vessel, and then sending it over here to America, right? So Bassett Furniture said in the last article I read about them that they couldn't open a new finishing shop there in North Carolina, right? They couldn't do it because it was going to take something like 2 years to go through all the permitting not only to approve the plans, right, to approve the site, to approve the building, to approve all the halon systems, the storage, right, because we have the most amazing storage for all of our chemicals. To do all this dirty work requires an insane amount of red tape. Or you send your design over to Vietnam. You say, hey there, Vietnamese, I need you to make me this furniture. Here's all the CAD, right? All the models. Here's the drawings. Here's all the CAM data, right? So you don't even have to fucking program your CNC. I got all the CAM data. Just throw it into your router, and it'll cut it all out, and then have a bunch of your cheap labor there make it, send it back over here, and then I'm going to sell it to, you know, Joe Schmo YouTuber here, and they're gonna pay me $3,000 for it, okay? Bassett is finding it very difficult to compete with Restoration Hardware. Even though they kind of operate in the same space, Restoration Hardware is probably a little bit of a better name, and probably, I think, a better design furniture, right? But their production, the way they make their furniture sucks, right? So Bassett's having a lot of trouble operating in America, and Restoration Hardware is like, let's fucking go. We're gonna go overseas. Williams-Sonoma, let's go. All these companies are cruising. Williams-Sonoma stocks, I think, $150 a share. All of these people are reaping lots of share value by sending your jobs overseas. That's what's going on when it comes to furniture, okay? And it needs to change, okay? Donald Trump, whether you like that guy or not, has talked about this. You can just Google Donald Trump talks about Lexington furniture, right? Donald Trump talks about Trump furniture. Donald Trump talks about furniture, okay? And again, you don't have to like the guy. You could think he's a dirty, rapist, stealer, Hitler, whatever. But at least watch and admit to yourself that, okay, yeah, this guy definitely knows something about the furniture space, because he really does, And I think that people have his ear. I hope to death someone in his administration sees this video. American Furniture Company here in St. Louis, Missouri, talking about how we're all getting ass fucked by corporate furniture, okay? Okay, more companies. So we got Crate & Barrel, I talked about Ashley Furniture. West Elm, everyone loves West Elm, right? West Elm makes great stuff. I've actually got 2 of their coffee tables, right? Their quality is pretty good. It all kind of screws together really nice. That's a whole nother thing, guys. You notice that everything you buy today, it all gets screwed together, with stud nuts, and then you got the little cam things and the little stud post things, and it's all designed by American people to be cut on a CNC router, right? To be cut on a plasma lathe, to be cut on a CNC lathe. It's a manufacturing. They say manufacturing's changed. Manufacturing hasn't changed. It's the location that's changed, right? So we got West Elm. West Elm, you can see them in the mall all the time. They're pretty pricey piece of furniture. I don't think they're too bad. They're kind of middle of the road, nice looking stuff. But again, it's all made overseas. We got Pottery Barn. Fuck these people. Like, Pottery Barn is one of these companies I can't, every time I go in there, every time I walk by them, I just gnaw my teeth. Like, how does this company stay in business? Every time you go in there, you got these goofy, I'm not gonna talk crap about people. Their furniture sucks. Their product sucks. It's made in a foreign country. When you order a piece of Pottery Barn furniture, if it has to be repaired or it's damaged, they'll just send you another one because it's fucking dirt cheap garbage. They got tons of it here in America because they had 200, 300 pieces made over in Vietnam, sent it over here. It's literally held in a warehouse, right? So everyone's gonna work in an Amazon warehouse or a Crate & Barrel warehouse or a West Elm warehouse or a Pottery Barn warehouse or a Williams-Sonoma warehouse. You're all gonna be fucking warehouse workers instead of furniture makers, instead of welders, instead of business owners, instead of forklift operators, whatever it might be. You're all gonna be warehouse workers, You're all gonna have a little GPS thing in there to track how productive you are, because the guy at the top, who's all worried about the EBITDA and the balance statement, right? That's all he cares about. And the share price, you're being ran around like a fucking robot, okay? Yeah, enjoy that. Again, because your jobs are all being shipped overseas. You can't go get a welding job. You can't go get a roofing job. You can't go do any of these things. The jobs aren't available. They're all being everything's being outsourced, So, okay, another company. We got Womack Furniture, which I'd never heard of. I don't know who this company is. I don't know. We got Max Wood Furniture. I don't know who that is. They're not on my list. And then we got Stanley. Like, these fucking people, like, you guys don't know how many pieces of Stanley furniture I've sold. Like, I bet I've sold 200 pieces of Stanley furniture. They make beautiful faux bamboo furniture. It was made in it was the 70s or 80s, I forget which. Beautiful brass accent pieces, just gorgeous stuff. I've modified tons of Stanley china cabinets. It blows my mind, guys. Like, some of those beautiful stuff you've ever seen, it's overseas now, and it's a goddamn shame. And Stanley is not the cup company, guys. It's not the tape measure, okay? This is the furniture company, and all these, they could own all that shit. I have no idea. But your case goods, another country, okay? So that company, fuck them, okay? Then we got Wayfair, okay? So Wayfair, this company, like holy hell, guys. I've talked to you guys about how to market your furniture company. I've talked to you guys about making websites. I've talked to you about how to get higher in the Google algorithm. You can't compete with Wayfair, guys. If you do a search for faux bamboo furniture, Wayfair is going to show up at the top, right? Can you buy faux bamboo furniture on Wayfair's website? Fuck no. There's no faux bamboo furniture, and everything you can buy, it's all garbage, right? But because they pay the most to Google for clicks, they show up. You can do a search for a Stanley Cup. Wayfair is going to show up. You can do a search for wool t-shirt. Home Depot is going to show up because they pay the most for clicks. These companies, just like 12 mega corporations, they want their name to always be on your screen no matter what you're looking for. Wayfair is one of those companies. They just sell a ton of shit, guys, and that's really all it is. Again, nothing against, like I said, nothing personally against any of these companies. Every company deserves to exist. Every company deserves to run whatever way they want to run. One of the problems is that none of these companies have a founder anymore. That's the problem, guys. And I'll end with that conversation. I'm not quite done with my talk yet, but I'm going to end with one of the solutions to the problem that I'm talking about today is we have a lack of founders, right? These are business owners. You should be able to start a business in your garage, just like I did, that of course failed many times, but you should be able to start a business and it shouldn't be the hardest thing ever. It shouldn't be, dumb luck that you're able to succeed. You should be able to succeed, but you can't do it when all the big business is drowning out your ability to get through the fucking, all the trunks of trees up to the freaking canopy where all the sunshine is, right? You can't get there because you're being bogged down, and then all the jobs that would allow you to do this kind of stuff are being sent overseas, so you can't even do it if you wanted to. You can't develop the skills to compete against these people, So we'll talk about that towards the end. I don't want to go on that. Okay, so Wayfair was the last one I wrote down, and then I already talked to you guys about Bassett Furniture and the clusterfuck of permitting and red tape that these guys have to deal with to get a furniture company, or to get a finishing department built in the place where they've been making fucking furniture for 70, 80 years at this point, okay? So it's a real problem, okay? So, all right, I'll go through the comments real quick. Sorry, guys, I know it's a long talk. I've got just oodles of data. I've been waiting to do this talk because you can apply what I'm saying to whatever industry you're in. Mine happens to be furniture. I talk about tradesmen. I talk about working with your hands. I talk about being an idiot, never graduated high school, start a company. Like, yes, you have to work your ass off, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with working hard. Harder than most people think. There's nothing wrong with it. But if if large corporations are sending all the jobs that normie people can do to other countries and then not giving you the opportunity to learn that shit because there's no money in it, right? You can't even learn it. Then what are we doing? What are we teaching people? Like I've talked at the beginning of the stream, everyone, like from 2005 on, everybody went to school. I mean, how many of you grew up and your parents were like, oh, you got to go to school, Otherwise, you have to work hard like your dad. You have to work hard like I did. Oh, you need to have it better than me. You need to go to school. We're going to pay for school. School. We see how that's worked out. It's, I think we got something like damn near $2 trillion in loans, that a lot of people want forgiven. They're like, this is bullshit. It didn't work. Big corporations did most of this, guys. Like, and I've got two enemies in this world: MBAs and large corporations. Like, these are my two enemies. I would even put PhDs, and they're not so much PhDs, but it's these people at both ends of things. These people that have got so high in education, they think that they know it all, and they look at someone like me and they think that I'm some fucking idiot, right? And then you got the other side, right? The mega corporation that looks at a company like mine and laughs at me. Right? They think that I'm a joke. Meanwhile, me and my wife don't have to go work for other people. We work for ourselves. And I'm telling you, everyone that's watching the stream right now, every one of you should be able to do that. Every one of you can do that. But it is very goddamn hard, and I'm telling you guys exactly why it's so hard. Donald Trump, like the guy or not, I think understands this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go through comments. Boy, we got someone really doing some mega posting here. So again, sorry guys, I know I've just been ranting, and I appreciate everyone putting up with me. Hit the like button, continue to add comments. Let's go through comments real quick, and then we're going to continue with my talk here about this kind of stuff. I'll talk to you guys about, we'll talk a little about labor. Labor's a big one. I used to be a safety coordinator when I worked for a company called Global Engineering and Technology. I can tell you guys how companies basically skirt labor law, environmental law, and if they can't skirt it here in America, they just send it overseas. I'll tell you guys exactly how they do that. Some of the other things I wrote down, let's see here. I wrote down countries are good at what they invest in, okay? Our country is deciding to get really good at AI, okay? And I'm here to tell you guys, they're stealing from you. They're fucking stealing from everybody. Like, they don't need all of our infrastructure. They don't need all of our tax dollars to build all of these data centers and to build up this technology. And they're going to say, well, someone else is going to create it, right? Okay, great. Let them create it. Big deal. Well, it's going to put us all out of work. Okay, great. Like, let's see. You know, but you can't just, like, we got a big project here in St. Charles, Missouri. In fact, I believe the whatever the alderman or whoever it is that like controls the government over there just shut it all down. This massive data center was supposed to go in. And there was so much backlash because it was basically going to take all the water from the Missouri River and it was going to jack up everyone's electricity rates because no one wants to make more power, right? It's like, it sure would be nice to have some more energy, you know, get the price down, you know, meanwhile, but we'll make sure that, you know, cities, states, and counties give lots of money to these data centers and these AI companies, but we're not going to build any fucking power, or we're not going to worry about the water situation to keep everything cool. We're just going to let everybody else pay for it through, you know, increased taxes, increased water bills, increased electric bills, increased insurance, less jobs. Like, it's bad news, guys. Yeah, so anyway, okay, let's go with the comments. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize, people. Okay, so Pedro, I said hi to you. We got Astrid Galactic in here again. I appreciate you here, dude. I appreciate your comments, and again, I like when people push back on me. I like people to give me their side of things. I'm always looking to learn, so I'm not the smartest person in the world by any means. This is just my industry, okay? Okay, why do all couches now have the same plain old solid colors? This is great. This is awesome. Great. Okay, I'm gonna address this. This is cool. Okay. Hard to find the nice looking ones with pretty prints that use okay, cool. So the truth is that there are lots of pretty prints. The thing is you can't afford it, okay? How do I know this? Because my wife only likes expensive shit, which is why I work all the time. I don't want to fucking be in my house because it's just full of shit that I could never afford, okay? And I'm not super comfortable there, to be completely honest with you. It's just not, So, when it comes to fabrics and when it comes to furniture design, and you were talking about specifically about couches and prints, okay? There's a picture that was going around, I don't know, probably a year ago, of all the car manufacturers, right? And they were showing all the new cars for the last couple of years. And you guys noticed, they went ahead and they made all the cars white, you know, just to eliminate one variation. And if you looked at the design of everything, they all kind of look the same. And this is what's happening, guys. All of your everything, whether it's furniture, whether it's fabrics, whether it's phones, whether it's, I mean, hell, what I got this DeWalt router, your cordless router, okay? Do you know that most of these routers and all these tools, most of them are made in the same locations, right? Like DeWalt doesn't have its own DeWalt factory, right? Ryobi probably has their fucking tools made in the same factory that DeWalt has their tools made, okay? That's why you can't find nice shit anymore, okay? Because every company is making all their stuff at the same mega factories across the ocean. You know, if you go on my website, theresplendentpro.com, right, all I sell is furniture. You know, most of us can't afford it, and that's fine. But if you look at my furniture, it's vintage furniture and then it's new furniture. Just go look at all the new furniture, guys. Look at what I make. You know, my products look nothing like anybody else's products, right? Because you can't CNC cut them. I mean, yeah, you can CNC cut parts, but everything is so detailed and hand applied, it's very difficult to mass manufacture that stuff here in America. It's not that it can't be done, of course it can be done, but it's easy to do the kind of work that I do here in America in another country, you know, and why is that? The reason is because instead of paying me whatever $150,000 a year to make furniture, you can pay 10 guys, hell, you can probably pay 20 guys over in another country my salary, no benefits, no environmental, no regulations, to do what I do, right? So instead of one person taking 25 years to get good at something, you could take 20 people, let them all do it for 5 years. They'll probably be just as good as I am. Hell, they'll probably be better in 2 years that I am, because they can all get good at a small discipline. You know, one's good at making trim, you know, one's good at, you know, hand applying miter trims, you know, another one's good at finish, you know, another one's good at, you know, framing up case goods. You can get really good at a certain discipline, but here's the thing, guys, it fucking sucks. You know, like the idea of going to work doing 2 or 3 things a day at best, every day for 20, 30 years, like, kill me. Like, I don't know about you, I can't operate in that space, you know? But that's what's going on, guys. That's why you can't find good designs anymore. You can't find unique products anymore at a reasonable price, is because a lot of these furniture companies, they're having their stuff designed in other countries, you know? And here's the thing, other countries, they don't care about your IP, you know? So if say you're Restoration Hardware and you're having your shit made over in Vietnam, well, the rep from Williams-Sonoma is going to the same factory, right? And he's probably talking to some of the same people, and, you know, he's gonna say, hey man, I got this furniture design over here, and trust me, when they're over there, the people in that factory say, hey man, I got this stuff over here from Restoration Hardware. This is kind of what they're doing. You know, I see what you're doing, man. What do you think about this? You kind of want to tweak something? This is the design style they're going for in the next 6 months. Maybe you ought to kind of go that way. And they do this with everybody. And I know this because I'm in the hardware game. Like, you don't think that my fucking hardware people don't tell me what other people are making? They do. Like, I know exactly what other people are making. And a lot of people that make stuff for me make it for other people. There's no honor amongst thieves, guys. And this is why you can't get new designs. It's because it's all kind of homogenized, because it's made in the same fucking place. And again, the people that are making the furniture, they don't give a shit. You know, they could care less. As long as people are buying the shit that they're selling, they'll continue to sell you guys shit. Until you demand a better product, it's not gonna happen. And again, if you make stuff for a living, if you fix stuff for a living, I mean, if you're someone that works on houses, whatever, you're a frame carpenter, you frame up houses, you think if you're gonna go buy a house, you're gonna buy some fucking piece of shit that Lennar's making for you, you know, or at least you're gonna know what to look for to determine whether or not you're buying a piece of shit. Most people have no idea what they're buying. They don't know that what they're buying is garbage, you know, or maybe it's not garbage. I don't know. But most people just don't know what they're buying, and we just take what we're given. You know, it's like, look at the Apple phone. Like, I got an Apple phone, that's what I'm on right now, but Apple's a dying company, guys. Like, there's no innovation at Apple. Like, they're dying. And it's the same thing for a lot of companies. They're dying because they don't have to innovate. They don't have to innovate, you know? There's not a lot of people coming up in the phone game. There's not a lot of people coming up in the furniture game, in the couches game, you know? There's not a lot of, like you talked about Prince, Astrid, you talked about couches, right? Well, I work with a lot of fabric companies, okay? So you think Schumacher is worried about people coming up making fabrics? I don't think so. Like, they're top dog, you know, or Tebow, like these people, what do they care? Like, they're doing just fine. You know, like, they're just gonna keep doing what they do. There's no competition, guys. This idea that companies are just gonna be around forever, they're just gonna continue to do what they want forever, they're only able to do it because there's a lack of competition, because there aren't enough people today that are starting their own businesses. You know, like today, if okay, here, okay, thank God this is live, okay? I'll tell you guys some back end stuff here, okay? So one of my favorite companies is Kindle, right? They're in Michigan, beautiful furniture company. They're something like 100, 125 years old. I look to them for designs and inspiration. I think the world of this company. Well, I started making a popular piece of their furniture. I did a video one day on it. It's a Dorothy Draper Espana chest. Beautiful piece of furniture. It was made back in the 30s by basically the woman that popularized interior design. And I made this piece of furniture. I made a big YouTube video about it. It's on YouTube. It's probably got 10,000 views. You can Google it or go to Modern Woodrunner on YouTube and you'll see it. Dorothy Draper Spotted Chest. Anyway, I made this piece of furniture and then I was like, fuck it, I'll just start selling it. I had people starting to buy them and I was selling them. Well, not too long ago, I got a fucking cease and desist letter from Kindle Furniture, right? They didn't want me to make their piece of furniture, sell their piece of furniture. And I'm like, well, this is kind of crazy. Like, this is a legacy company. They've been around forever. You know, what they did is they apparently bought the patent the trademark from Henredon, who went out of business. I think they were acquired by Drexel or Stanley. I forget at one point. But they had the IP. Well, anyway, it went to Kindle. Now they have. Well, these motherfuckers don't sell. They hardly sell any of this shit. you know, but they don't want me making it because I'm selling it, right? I'm also the #1 search on Google for this piece of furniture because I advertise and market like a motherfucker, right? I've got the YouTube videos, I've got the Instagram content, I've got the Facebook content. When you do a Google search for Dorothy Draper Espana chest, my fucking name shows up. Not the people that have the trademark, you know? And this is part of the problem, guys. Like, you can't do shit when there's fucking trademarks and patents that last forever. Like, you can't remake this. And supposedly in furniture, you can pretty much copy anyone's shit. It's very hard to trademark or copyright a furniture design or a specific kind of insignia. Like, it's very difficult. But apparently they were able to do it, whatever, back in the 50s or whenever that trademark went in. So I had to stop making that piece of furniture. And again, it's not a big deal. I don't care, but I know what it was. It wasn't that I was stealing their business because they're fucking going broke anyway. It was because I outmarketed them. All the video content was mine. Those Google searches were mine. And I don't even make that piece of furniture. I make that in my fucking spare time. Okay? So this is part of the problem we're running into, guys. These big corporations, these legacy companies that have been around forever, they're just resting on legacy shit. And it's, I mean, Apple's a perfect example. Like, how fucking long is the iPhone? It's the exact same phone. It's been since the iPhone 8. Same fucking phone. They just give you a better camera and a little bit of different technology, you know? So a lot of these people, they're going bust, guys. It's gonna happen. But yeah, you can't get decent prints, guys. You can't get decent anything anymore. You know, it's all made in the same places. It's a homogenized, incestuous relationship between all these people with their vendors, or they're not vendors, they're manufacturers over in these third world countries. So I hope that answers your question. And one more thing, Astrid. Here's if you want to get really good fabrics, you want to get really good prints. My wife tells me, and she's always whatever wifing about this company, right? Who makes beautiful fabrics, okay? I want to say it's called Brunswick and Fee. Okay, so Google that one. She thinks it's the creme de la creme. She's made videos about how I put my tools on her Brunswick and Fee couches and chairs, and she wants to fucking murder me. And I don't care. Like, when I see this shit, it all looks like 80s couches to me. Remember the couches that you guys had back in the 80s? You know, your grandma put the plastic on them. That's what all the new hot fabrics look like to me. It just looks like it's being recycled from the shit that was popular 40 years ago. So, okay, we got Batman in here. And again, sorry, Galactic. I hope I answered your question. Continue in the comments if you need more. So I'm gonna try and run through these comments, and we'll continue our discussion. Again, guys, hit the like button, add the discussion. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me on Saturday. I'm just here in my shop, trying to make some furniture. I've been making these I got a big freaking foyer table that I gotta make. So these are big, thick 2-inch foyer legs. We got 3 of them. They're gonna kind of set in a triangular pattern on this big base here. So we got this big 2-inch thick base where these legs are all gonna come here, here, and here. We got a big 48-inch top. Got a bunch of brass that goes on the side. We'll veneer all these edges, and then we'll paint the whole thing jet black. So jet black with beautiful brass accents around. It'd be freaking awesome. It'll just gleam. Okay, Batman says, I hope no one buys American furniture. Getting sick of these privileged people. Y'all need a reality check. You know, and Batman, like, dude, it's cool, man. Let's read your next comment real quick. I'd rather buy from Vietnam than America. Okay, yeah, it's cool. And I hear what you're saying. And some people can say that American stuff's gotten too expensive. And again, I don't disagree. Like, part of me 100% gets what you're saying, dude. And I completely understand it. But and again, on my streams, I'm very real with people. I tell people what I make, my profits, my revenues, how I make money, how I lose money. I tell everybody everything, okay? Truth is that I've made, when I got into aerospace, I made, in 2001, right, 9/11 happened, and I got into aerospace, right? I made about $42,000 my very first year because we just had tons of overtime, right? I've never made less than $70,000 a year for my entire life. I've had years where I've made over $100,000 a year as a furniture maker. And again, I work a lot of overtime sometimes, but that's just part of the work. But if I wasn't selling an American product, which was Hawker Beechcraft jets, Cessna jets, Bell helicopters, what else do we make things for? Boeing, right? Did a lot of Boeing BBJs. I tell everyone I've worked on Air Force One, Air Force Two. I've worked on Marine One. I've worked on all the E-4B planes, which are your doomsday planes, is what they call them. I've worked on all these planes. I've worked on all of the Saudi Princess planes. I've worked on Sultan of Brunei's plane. I've done Michael Jordan's jet. I've done Charles Barkley. I can just name all kinds. The Denver Broncos, like anybody you can think of. I worked on all these jets. Okay, every fucking one of these products is made in America. Every one of them. Okay, so when people say, and I push back on this pretty hard. When people say, "Oh, American stuff, it's too expensive," American stuff. Okay. More things need to be made in America because it pays American wages, guys. Like, and say what you will. Yeah, I was making stuff for rich people. I don't disagree with that. Of course I was making stuff for rich people. Guess what I do now? The Resplendent Crow is my business, right? ResplendentCrow.com. My credenzas, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. Look over here, okay? That credenza over there, it's 10 feet long, sells for $12,000, okay? I've sold 2 of them so far. I just made this thing I made the prototype I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months ago, right? Unfortunately, sometimes you have to sell to rich people, okay? And that means you get a living wage. You actually get to make real money, okay? My painters, my sanders, my delivery people, they all make fantastic money, right? And again, I don't make a ton of money. Like I take a base salary of $4,000 a month. That's my fucking base salary, okay? And also my wife works there, so she's got a base salary too, okay? We make base salaries, okay? If I do my job and I, work hard enough all year long, which is most 60, 70-hour weeks, right? I do all the engineering. I do all the CAD, I do all the CAM, I build at least 50% of the furniture. I handle all the bullshit that goes on with our facility. If I do all my my jobs correctly, and I save money where I can, I don't pay too much overtime, right? I don't fuck too many things up, I can put $150,000 in my pocket, okay? But guess what? During COVID, I lost money 3 years in a row, okay? Had to take out loans, got myself in massive debt, okay? Selling to rich American people, selling to any American that will buy my products, okay? And that's what it's like to be an American company, to sell an American product to Americans. It's not easy, and it ain't supposed to be easy. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money, but you get to work for yourself. You get to sell something and make something that's really cool. So every time I made a cabinet for Cessna CJ4, I think is what we're making, CJ3s and CJ4s, like it felt good, making Jeppesen cases, making divans, making whatever, credenza cabinets, whatever we had to make, galleys, like all that shit. It felt really good, and I'm telling you guys that when you buy something that's made overseas, yeah, you're gonna save some bucks, but guess what? There ain't many Americans that aided in the production of that product, and that's the thing that we've got to wrap our heads around. I know it's frustrating for people when they see, a couch that costs $5,000, and they can go down to Walmart and buy a couch for $349, It is frustrating, but what I'm always preaching to people is that you can start a couch company, but not if your federal government says that all the rules here in America that you have to abide by, all the taxes we got to pay, all the OSHA, the EPA, the tort law, the transportation law, all these laws we have to abide by, the tax law. If all that shit doesn't apply to the other country, guess what? As soon as any of these companies get big enough, they're going to outsource every fucking job we have, guys. Every single one. The people love to say, well, if you tax big businesses, they're all going to leave. Good. Get them the fuck out of here. They can all go. And guess what? You can start a couch company, right? You can make furniture for yourself. You can be the local guy that makes tables. You can be the local guy that makes whatever, cherrywood furniture, pine furniture. You can be a local welder. You can do all these kind of things. This idea that only big corporations and big businesses can support America is horseshit. The problem is that we don't have enough small businesses in America that causes our issues. So Batman, I hope I went back and forth with you. I didn't push back too hard, but the truth is that American products, yes, they're expensive, but guess what? You don't need a ton of cheap shit. You need really good stuff. And that's the thing about when things get expensive, the quality goes through the roof, right? So the truth is that if I'm gonna make, say, 500 pieces of furniture a year, if I don't deliver a exceptional product and more importantly, an exceptional experience, right? Because the person that buys a $500 piece of furniture doesn't expect the same level of service as the person buying a $5,000 piece of furniture. They're very different, right? But if I don't service my clients well enough over the years, I'm out of business, you know? Meanwhile, Walmart, you know, selling their $349 couch cannot give you any service at all, you know, but because it's dirt cheap, you know, you'll pay for it, I guess. I mean, I don't know, you know, and then what? Do you want to go work for Walmart? You want to be a fucking door greeter? Maybe you want to work in the back unloading trucks from all the shit that came in from Vietnam so you could have that $349 couch. Like, it's, again, I don't have the answer per se, but I understand this industry. I understand it really well, and I think I know where we need to go, you know? So, okay, all right, more comments. So, Astrid Galactic, sorry, Batman, but I found that furniture made in Vietnam is very cheaply made and falls apart easily. A lot of fake printed services. So, so Galactic, this might shock everyone, but foreign-made furniture, I think it's made really well. I really do. I don't think that it's bad furniture. It can be. Some of it can be poorly designed. But IKEA furniture, you know, anything that uses those dowels and cams and, you know, it becomes kind of rickety, right? If there's not a lot of mortise and tenon joinery where clamps were applied, you know, it's not going to be great furniture. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of time for that kind of craftsmanship anymore. People are just trying to basically slap furniture together, pin nail the shit out of it, fill the holes, paint it, you know, fill the holes, laminate it, veneer it, whatever it might be. It's just, you know, they're just trying to rip it, you know, get it out as fast as they possibly can. Vietnam, China, these people, they do make okay furniture. Like some of their real, have you ever seen Restoration Hardware furniture? Like at the end of the day, it's great furniture. I believe that, you know. Pottery Barn, I think, fuck that company, but their furniture's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Williams-Sonoma, same thing. Like their furniture's fine. Furniture is not a hard thing to make. It is not a difficult skill to acquire, but if you send all that work over to other countries, you will lose it in this country. And that's something that we really got to think about. There are second and third order consequences to any decisions that we make. And if you send all this work over to other countries, you lose those skills here in America. And some people might say, well, I don't care. I don't want to make furniture. Well, great. Yeah, I'm sure you don't. But what if it was your industry that was being outsourced, right? You might have a different opinion, you know? So that's why we're having this conversation. Okay, so let's see. Ent J, good to see you, dude. Boo-hoo, are you complaining Americans want livable wages? Greed is the main problem in America. Well, it's yes, greed is an issue, right? And I've done, how many talks have I done about service and wealthy people? You know, like if anyone's watched my stream, I talk about it all the time. Like I sell a luxury good. I grew up working in a luxury industry, private jets, right? Private jets, defense jets, right? All these kind of things. You're getting more and more rich people, guys. Like, I hate to say it. There's more rich people being, whatever. There's more rich people existing now than ever. It's a fucking Gilded Age at this point, guys. The haves and the have-nots, the chasm is just getting larger and larger and larger, and the wealthy are going to want my product, like whether I like it or not. Like, I'm not rich, but my product is for rich people, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong with wealth. I like wealth. The private jet industry, you know how many like middle-class jobs and upper middle-class jobs that industry creates? It's insane. You guys wouldn't believe how many people in that industry make over $100,000 a year with the best benefits. You know, clean environments, everything's super lightweight, the best tools, the best of everything. Wealthy people are not bad. Greed is you're never going to get rid of greed. The problem with what we have going on with greed today is that we're basically letting people who don't actually work get rich, right? And some people don't like it when I say this, but I'm always picking on MBAs and picking on super educated people because, again, I never graduated high school. But when you let people come in with big educations and their biggest contribution is taking your job, you know, whether putting together a couch or maybe, you know, you're working the assembly line, you know, you're putting a hub assembly together on a Jeep or whatever, you know. When the greatest contribution from that new CEO, that MBA, that guy that went to Harvard or Yale, is that he got the share price up $1 a pop by sending all of that work to Mexico, right? Or bringing in the latest robotic, and they'll say, oh, the robotic, someone's got to service the robotic. We're going to put together a new building, and that building's got to be made by American people. They always tell you that, but all that work, is temporary. It doesn't last it lasts for months at best, and then it's gone. Once that work goes to another country, it's gone forever. And that's why when I put the thumbnail up for this talk, I showed Trump's post, because it's very relevant. It's very important. I mean, I think everyone would agree that Trump at least is trying to bring work back to America, and he's basically doing it by increasing the cost of foreign goods. And again, you don't have to agree with it. This is not a political thing. That's just what tariffs do. Tariffs increase the cost of bringing stuff into America. Doesn't increase prices necessarily, but it does increase the price that it takes to get that stuff into America, right? And who pays that price is a negotiation. I've done many talks on this. Everyone thinks that when you tariff a good, the consumer immediately pays for it. Like, that's not how it works, guys. There's a negotiation upstream of the person that makes the product, the person that makes the material for the product, right? The person that's warehousing the product. There's all kinds of conversations that happen before that good ever gets to America, but nobody wants to talk about that. So greed is always going to be a thing, guys. But we need to not allow greedy people who, I won't say greedy people are wealthy people. That's not accurate. There's a lot of wealthy people that aren't greedy at all. I think that we tend to depict greedy people as being wealthy. The problem, guys, is that when we make profit work by sending work overseas, you incentivize greedy behavior, right? You incentivize increasing the EBITDA, right? Increasing the share price, increasing dividends to shareholders, right? People who don't do any fucking work at the company, right? And again, we've glorified investors. We've glorified the financial bros, the responsibility bros. Buy real estate, sock away $20 a week into Bitcoin. Like, we've heard all this stuff. And some of that is true, guys, but at the end of the day, we need people that work. We need people that make products. The reason the value of your dollar is shit right now is because we basically gave out $12 trillion to people who weren't working. You can't continue to buy stuff if no one is producing them. That's the way our economy works. Like I give you money, you make me something, right? I give you money, you provide me with a service. We had basically 2 solid years, 3 to 4 years of that not happening. So real big problem. And then to make it even worse, a lot of these companies, these mega companies I'm talking about, Crate and Barrel, Ashley Furniture, Restoration Hardware, while America was locked down, what the fuck do you think was going over in Vietnam? You think those guys were shut down? No. Those guys, they may have had some extra precautions, but they're all fucking working 10, 12 hours a day to supply all of the printed American dollars that we were sending out to the entire globe to basically fund our homes because we were all stuck at home not working, right? So it's a big problem there. So okay, so yeah, be careful with the whole greed thing. Greed's a double-edged sword, to be quite honest with you. Okay, let's see here. Astrid Galactic, you're so right. Our jobs are being gutted in all sorts of different ways. Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. Like, if you can work hard enough, and this is why everyone has to have like 2 or 3 jobs now. Like, I did a talk the other day talking about revenue streams. Like, I've probably got 6 or 7 different revenue streams, and none of them have made me rich. Not fucking one of them. Like, I work all the time. Like, I constantly work. Not because I necessarily have to. I mean, I do, don't get me wrong. I just like work. I've just done it for so long. I don't know any different. I'm not a family guy. I don't do dogs, cats, animals, none of that shit. I do my wife and I do my job. And that is it. That's all. Those are the only things that I do in this world, guys. I talk on YouTube because, again, I'm trying to get the watch hours up on this channel. That way when I do my talks, which I'm going to do anyway, maybe I can get a little bit of those, I forget what they call the donations, or maybe get a little bit of that subscriber money. Again, it's just one little extra way to get a little bit of money. And people love to contribute to people where they see value, right? And if you make an American product and you sell it, there's value there, guys. There's a lot more value in buying an American-made product where the person that made it You know the business owner. You know the person that painted it, that sanded it, that put it together. The guy that you see me on these streams, like there's a lot more value in buying something from me than buying something from Chang over in Vietnam, right? And again, nothing wrong with that guy. He's probably a great furniture maker, but you don't know him. You don't know who made your furniture. You don't even know what fucking wood your furniture is made of, to be quite honest with you. It's all made of woods like you're not aware of, like rubber wood. Like we don't use a lot of rubber wood here in America. You know, like my wood racks are all stocked with poplar, cherry, walnut, and a shit ton of mahogany right now. You know, there's no rubber wood. There's no acacia wood. These are woods that don't exist here in America. We don't use them. So, yeah, so, all right, who we got here? Is this Biggie and Pac? Oh boy. I grew up in the 90s, man. I was a Notorious Big guy. I love Notorious Big. I love Tupac too, man. Tupac got some great songs. God damn, like those guys were both awesome. I miss the 90s. Like I'm so old, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, we're gonna go down to our comments. Biggie and Pac, good to see you. Boy, a lot of action there, Biggie. I appreciate it. Okay, more comments. Son says it's deeper than big corporations. Yeah, no, son, you're 100% right. It's big corporations in line with politicians, right? I mean, everyone knows. I'm not saying anything new here, but I mean, who the fuck is gonna, trade their $1 million a year job to go be a politician for $174,000 a year, right? Like we all know that's a big scam. There's a reason the founding fathers were all business owners, right? They were all landowners. They went and did their thing, and then they went back to work. Like this idea of a career politician, it's a massive problem, guys. It is a massive, massive problem. I don't know what we do about it. Some of the solutions that I have are you need to have reciprocal policies. Like we're talking about reciprocal tariffs. I remember when Trump did that. When Trump had the reciprocal tariff thing, do you guys see what happened to Restoration Hardware stock? It went down 50%. It was nearly $300 a share. It went down to like $1.40. In 2 days, because of the 46% tariff that was put on Vietnam. Decimated that country. And what does that tell you? That tells you that all the value of that fucking company is in foreign production. It's in circumventing all of our laws here in America and bringing a product into America without any of those laws. And that's the problem. We have so many laws and rules here in America, which some of them are great. Everyone kind of has the ones that they like. But most of them don't help us, guys. And again, when we allow corporations, especially corporations, to make stuff overseas and circumvent all of our laws here and then bring it back in here and sell it as if it's almost like an American-made product, it's bullshit, guys. Like I can tell you, when Restoration Hardware sells you an $8,000 couch, there's not fucking $8,000 in that couch. There's $2,000 in that couch at best. And if you're talking about like a case good, if they're selling you a case good for $10,000, there might be $2,000 in that case good by the time it gets to this shore, right? These people are making a killing selling you products that are made overseas, right? They're spending a lot of money on advertising. They're spending a lot of money on their retail locations. They're spending a lot of money on their websites. They're spending a lot of money on their sales teams, right? They're spending a fuck ton of money on their lawyers. They're legal. They're spending a lot of money on people that are influencing Congress, right? And this is where exorbitant profits come in. This is where I got a problem. When you have enough money to go influence Congress, we got a problem, right? And like all these tech companies, what are the FANG stocks? Netflix, Meta, Tesla, any of these companies. I can't think of Google. Whatever. They all have so much money, so much excess money, that they're using it to basically make America a shittier place, to give them more control over their industries and make it harder for you to compete. And it's a major problem, son. Huge problem. But yeah, it's not all corporations. It's corporations coupled with the way that we do our government, So okay, Auto Repair Library. Auto Repair, that's a cool name, man. I'm curious what kind of business you're in there. That's I'm a car guy. I love cars, dude. Okay, it seems so hard to start up with how high margins are. It costs more to buy metal. Then you can go out and buy something pre-made from China. The same goes for wood and all sorts of. Yeah, no, and that's a great point. And I'm doing a project right now for this estate here locally. I do some major projects, and so what you're talking about with metal, I can talk about that right now. So one of the big problems with the way that we do things here in America is take a product, right? So you were talking about metal auto repair. You were talking about metal. Okay, so I deal in brass, right? I sell brass hardware. I design it and I have it manufactured in India. Okay, and this is it's all about the market, guys. And this is one of the things that when Trump talks about people need to pay a tariff, what he's talking about is all of these foreign countries basically paying a fee to operate in the American marketplace. Okay, so metal. When you sell brass, right, say you're ABC Brass Company, right, you're selling brass, the money that you can sell that brass into India is going to be value A. The money you can sell that brass into America is going to be value B, okay? The delta, or the difference between India and America is going to be a factor of 10. Same raw material cost, same manufacturing cost, completely different market, completely different margin, right? So I tell you guys about brass hardware. When I buy brass hardware from India, it costs me $5. I'm able to sell that for $75 here, right? If I were to sell that same piece of hardware in India, they wouldn't be able to afford it, right? If I were to try and make that hardware here in America, I probably couldn't make it for $75 that I sell it for, right? Where you sell something and where you make something are everything. Now, if more people in America made hardware, guess what? The cost of that hardware goes down, right? Because there's more people that have the equipment. There's more people that know about foundries, that know about laser CNCs, that know about casting. This knowledge base, which no longer exists in America, comes back. And so the cost to produce that thing, while still expensive, does come down, So what's happening right now is a lot of these things that we buy for, like what you're saying, auto repair, we're buying it super cheap overseas. It's being brought into America with no tariff, like no cost. Like, why would you buy? I mean, I make furniture. Why the fuck would you buy my furniture when you can buy something similar in Vietnam for a tenth of the cost, right? Or maybe not a tenth, but whatever, like a third of the cost. If it's exactly the same, all things being equal, they lacquer furniture, right? They got, the same feet that I do. They've got the same bloom hinges, same dimensions. They make it out of plywood. Might not be plywood that's made in America, but it's plywood that was made in Vietnam, like most people don't know the difference, Where you're able to make the money and we're able to operate in America is you do what I'm doing right now, guys. And this is the thing that I'm talking about as a business owner. You have to work on your like, know, and trust if you want people to buy your products in America. People have to know who you are. They got to like you. And they got to trust you. Like, does anyone have any doubt that I'm not one of the fucking awesome furniture manufacturers in America? Am I the best? No. Am I top 100? Probably not. Am I top 1,000? Probably not. But I'm a good furniture maker, right? And I've been in business for a long time, so I got a reputation. Some people like me, some people hate me, but they like me, they trust me because I've been in business for a long time, and they know me. They know that tomorrow I'm probably going to be talking about furniture again. I'm going to be showing people what we're making, and this is how you provide value. This is how you guys build a brand. And if you want to sell a product in America, using American-made products, this is how you do it. So if nobody wants it, if you just want to be a faceless company, you want to be Nike. Does anyone know who the fuck the CEO of Nike is these days? It used to be Phil Knight. I don't know who it is now, but people like that swoosh, but you can't tell me there's not a shoe company that if there was a popular guy on Instagram or TikTok or whatever is making shoes, people really liked him. Mr. Beast started making a tennis shoe. Mr. Beast could probably sell a shit ton of tennis shoes, because they know and like the guy and they probably trust him, So anyway, I don't want to lose people here. So auto repair, I hope that kind of answers your question there. Startup costs, it just depends on what you do, dude. Like furniture can literally start in a garage. The barrier to entry on furniture is very small. But you have to be interested, right? And it takes time. And time is the thing that kills most people. Like people just they're not patient enough. And this is why I'm always telling you guys, whatever you do in your day-to-day, you need to do when you get home. If you want to get good enough at something fast enough, you have to do it all the time. And I've made furniture my entire life. It's the only thing I've ever done. I've done it professionally, working for other people, and I've done it for myself when I could. And I've gotten good enough at it that I can make anything, but that's what you have to do, guys. The barrier to entry in a lot of businesses is really high. It making furniture is not very high, you know, but to open a retail location, you know, say you start in your garage, in order to make that transition from a garage to a building, right? And I know this because we did it. You're going to go from having no rent, no insurance, no bullshit, right? You don't have to worry about fucking OSHA walking in. The minute you go to a commercial or an industrial location, suddenly all that shit applies. So the mortgage that you're paying at home, where you're also making your furniture, well, now you got a separate, you got rent, or you got a mortgage if you bought a building. Now, you got separate insurance. You know, you got to deal with separate taxes. You just got it. That's the part that's the problem, guys. And what they charge for commercial land is insane. Right now, commercial real estate in this country should be in the bottom of the fucking barrel. You know, all these companies, if you guys haven't noticed this, you guys notice that no commercial businesses have gone out of business? Like, you don't hear any banks fire selling commercial or industrial property right now, even though the loans that basically, so when you take out a loan for a building, a massive construction project, these loans are generally 3 to 7 years, and they're going to be at a certain term, right? All those loans were supposed to reset. Tons of those loans should have been resetting for a long time now, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Like I talk about San Francisco all the time. San Francisco had an occupancy rate of something like 38% in its buildings for years. None of those buildings went bankrupt. Why is that? You know, kind of weird. You know, you would think that if you had to operate in the red for years on end, you would probably go bankrupt, right? Why haven't any of these businesses gone bankrupt? Any of these buildings gone bankrupt? I can't figure it out, guys. So, okay, we're gonna keep going on our comments. Son, okay, it's rough because, like you said, people should be able to make a business in their garage. People can't afford a house, though. The ruling class is intentionally choking out the bottom. Yeah, no, and that's what I'm always talking about, guys. So I'm always telling everyone, like, learn to do some shit. You know, if you're good at fucking Diablo and Call of Duty, those skills are not applicable to nothing. You know, they're good for your, you know, for this up here and killing time and all, and that's cool, man. That's no problem. But houses aren't that expensive when you can do drywall. Houses are really cheap when you can do concrete work. Houses are really cheap when you know how to lay a fucking shingle. You know, you can make money in houses if you know how to build kitchens. Maybe you know how to build vanities. If you know how to do wallpaper. These skills are so useful today. Like I see when I hear people tell me that like the median cost for a home today is something like $400,000 to $50,000 a year, like it blows my mind. The first house I ever bought, I bought in 2002 or 2003. I paid $99,000 for it. The interior of this home was Pepto-Bismol pink. It was owned by a black family, nice people, horrible fucking taste. The carpet, pink. The blinds, pink. The tile in the bathrooms, pink. Like as pink as you can possibly imagine. I gutted all the carpet, got rid of it. Actually had a flood in the bottom of the house. Put a couple inches of water in the bottom. Insurance paid out on that. I replaced the carpet that was downstairs in the basement, put in tile, and ended up selling the house for $125,000 3 or 4 years later. You know, so if you can do these things, I also put a new kitchen. Kitchen was very small, but guess what? I know how to make kitchen cabinets. Did all that stuff and made 25% on that home, you know, minus fees, of course, and materials and all that. But point is I made money. I didn't lose money. And I was able to buy a house that was fucking disgusting looking because I could fix everything, you know? And that's what I tell people. Like, if you have real tangible skills, the cost of everything isn't that bad. Like, right now, I drove a piece of shit Audi TTS to work, right? I've replaced suspension twice on it. I fucked it up the first time. The second time, the suspension didn't work. And so I'm gonna replace it a third time. First time I replaced that suspension, it took me 2 days. The second time I did it, it took me 4 hours. So the third time I do it, I hope it's gonna take me less than 4 hours. The cost to replace it from Audi was $12,000 to replace all this stuff. I did it for $2,200. So these skills, guys, if you learn this stuff, it will transfer into a lot of other areas of your life. And guys, if there's I'm sure there's a lot of guys on here. You think that chicks want you to have a nice car? You think that chicks want you to have money? You think that chicks want you to have big muscles, big dick, all these kind of things? Here's what women want. Okay, women want to know that when they need something fixed, you can do it. They want to know that if they want something in life, you have the answer to get it, or you at least are interested in getting it. You know, they want to know that when their tire blows out on their car, you don't say, well, hey, bitch, call up AAA. Like, no, you're going to go fix it. You're going to go take care of the tire. These are the things that women like. You know, when they say, oh, it sure would be nice to have a new bathroom, you'll be like, great, let's go. I'll take care of the new bathroom. The man that says, well, hey, let me call the carpenter, or the man that says, hey, let me call my buddy who had his house done. Let me see who he used, you know, because I'm in finance. It's nice to have money, you know, but I'm telling you guys, when it comes to women, women love when you can make shit. They love when you can fix things. They love when you're the answer to their problem, and they see you do it. That's been my experience, you know, and it's sounds terrible, you know, but like big Johnsons and big muscles, don't really have that. I'm a runner, little runner guy, normal dude. But that's kind of how I see it, guys, you know. So, you know, I don't know if I went to, let me read your question one more time, son. Is there because if you make business there? Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. Like, more people can buy houses if they have tangible skills. But you're right. A lot of people, especially the ones that like went to college, they got in their head that living in the city was going to be a good thing, and they got this idea that 15-minute cities were going to be a thing. Like, I've been to Austin so many times, and they literally have these massive apartment complexes, and they've got like walking trails, dog parks, bars, all this kind of stuff, literally right in the vicinity of an apartment complex. And that's the kind of stuff they were trying to create. What they didn't realize is that there's no garage there, right? You're not going to work on your extra car. You're not going to, you know, re-sheetrock your apartment. Like, you don't get to do any of that shit. You know, you can't even plug in your fucking Tesla in many cases. You know, I'm sure in the newer apartments you can. But like the things that make men men, and the things that help us to develop these skills that are going to be super useful, things that can help you start a business, haven't been fostered for a long time. And we need to work on those things. And like Son said, the best way to do it is to have a house with a garage where you can do some of these things. And it's tough, you know. I mean, I can talk about the house. I don't want to talk about the housing market too much, but I mean, big business bought up all your houses, guys. You know, I hate to tell you this. And then when we let in a whole bunch of illegal people, again, not because there's anything wrong with illegal people, but because the economy can't keep up. Housing can't keep up. Services can't keep up when you have that many people coming in every year. The only thing that can happen is, you know, the economics, right? Supply and demand. A lot of demand, not enough supply. And well, you got a lot of people working in the housing market. It's hard to catch up to the demand. You know, it takes a long time to catch up to that demand, you know, so it's tough, guys. So, yeah, I don't know, son. All right, who is this? Mickey Langolo. Mickey Langolo, interesting. Okay, good to see you, dude. Glad you're here. Free energy. Capitanzi coil powers a halogen light. Well, I don't know anything about that. Energy is a big problem, though. Energy is going to become a big problem, guys. Like, I mean, we've all seen, again, I talk a little about AI. I hate to, you know, be a doomer, but if these AI data centers come on, some of these people are talking about, like, here's a stat for you guys, and I know this because I watched it the other day. One 20,000 square foot data center, okay? 20,000 square foot data center, okay? My entire building is 20,000 square feet. I use 12 of it. One data center uses the same amount of energy as 12,000 homes every day. So if you have one of these data centers in every, you know, major to medium-sized city in America, that's not good, guys. I don't know where the energy is going to come. Like, the energy is already a problem right now. I mean, so if you guys, I've heard me talk about it many times. I live on the Mississippi River, right? So my house overlooks the Mississippi River. It's a beautiful home. And I watch the barges go up and down the Mississippi River every day, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You know what's on those barges? Coal. That's where your power is coming from, guys. People talk about wind, and you even hear Elon talking about, oh, we can power everything with solar. Like, no, you can't. You know, and maybe someday we will be able to, but right now, the best thing we got is coal. You know, we got natural gas, which is pretty abundant and fairly cheap, and then we've got nuclear, which apparently we're too smart for nuclear power, even though that's making a comeback. So when you start putting all of these data centers, which are just essentially massive energy sucks, and water sucks, by the way. where's that power going to come? Like, they got no fucking plan, because no one's required it. Fortunately, St. Charles here in St. Louis, Missouri, just shut down a data center. They said, nope, we're not going to. They shut it down for a year. And it'll probably come online at some point, but they basically said, no way. Like, our people don't want this. It's going to be too much of a drain on everyone's resources. It's going to raise prices on everybody, and we're not going to have it. There's, I know Meta's talked about making some of these data centers, and they wanted to build their own nuclear power stations in conjunction with that. And I think that's great. That'd be fantastic. The problem is the regulation, right? Like, we talked about regulations earlier. The regulations in this country are so cumbersome and they're so layered, right? That, again, every business in America goes overseas because there's too many regulations here. Like, there's too much red tape, there's too many taxes, there's too many everything, and the best thing to do is send the work overseas. And unfortunately, like, the company you work for probably isn't going to convince you to go work in Vietnam because it's too difficult to, do your job here in America. Like, they're just going to be like, sorry, son, you're not going to work anymore. We're going to send your job overseas. Here's some COBRA for your insurance, and we'll give you some severance, and bye, or, here's an H-1B visa worker. He's going to come in and replace you, because you're getting kind of expensive, and, oh, yeah, you're also kind of old. You're getting a little bit old, which is going to fuck up our health insurance policy, so we're going to bring in, Kareem or what, I don't know what the names are, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of messed up, guys. But Nikki, I don't know exactly what you're talking about there. It sounds interesting. I always like hearing new people talk about new things. So this is Copanazzi, something like that. So if I'm doing a Grok search, maybe I'll look that thing up. Coil powers, huh? So yeah, sounds pretty cool, man. Make a power pole and a cell phone charger. Okay, again, this is like out of my element. I'm trying to talk furniture with you guys, and I appreciate all the other things. If I could talk about it, I will. But furniture's my game. I will get back to my notes here. I just want to try and go through the comments. We got a lot of people in here tonight. Again, I appreciate everyone being here. If you're in the stream, we're talking about big furniture. We're talking about big furniture companies. And I can also talk about the consolidation of the furniture industry, which is the other major problem. There used to be a shit ton of furniture companies, guys. Tons of, just like defense contractors, right? There used to be something like 44 different defense contractors, major defense contractors, in the 80s, right, during the Cold War. And now I think we're down to like 6 or 7. Like, there's hardly any of them, which is one of the reasons that the cost of everything goes up, right? And it's the same thing with furniture. If you guys will notice, they always tell you that you're going to get cheaper products, right? But what happens is the product just goes overseas. When it comes back here, it's not cheaper. And they always say, well, it would have been more expensive. They have the luxury of being able to say that. The truth is, it's not that money that you would have saved, supposedly, just went in their pocket. And it goes into dividends for their shareholders, right? It goes into nicer equipment for their machines, for their factories. It probably goes into better wages for their workers, the ones that they keep, right? It goes into CEO salaries, CFO salaries, VPs, executive VPs, everyone in the C-suite, right, gets paid. You, the skilled craftsperson, your job is the first one to go. But now, I mean, the white-collar people, it seems like white-collar people are kind of terrified right now. It seems like some of their jobs are getting ready to get hacked and slashed too. So hashtag learn to weld, motherfuckers. What goes around comes around, I guess. Sorry, I don't care if you're a white-collar worker. I really don't. Blue-collar worker, white-collar worker, doesn't matter to me. I just want more people to have businesses. I want more people to be able to create products and services here in America and sell to each other. Like, we can sell more things to each other. I think that's really important. Okay, Buffalo Blanco, man, good to see you. Glad you're here. Thanks for entering the stream, guys. If you guys are here, hit the like button. Get this thing. We're going to kick this thing around as many people as we can. Like I said, my name's Eric Wilk, and I own the Resplendent Crow. We are a boutique furniture company here in St. Louis, Missouri. All of our furniture is handmade right here in this facility. We got 12,000 square feet that we use. We have access to 20. We make everything by hand. I don't even have a CNC router. I get a lot of my parts. I've got a guy here locally who has a couple CNC routers, and I use him to cut out, bread and butter cabinets for me, things that are kind of easy to assemble to help kind of speed production. I've got 2 cabinet makers. That's it. I've got 2 sanders, 1 assembler, 1 painter, 2 shippers. Yeah, something like that. And then, of course, me and my wife. And that's basically the base of our company. I've got a couple of VAs. I've got a marketing person that handles all my social media, does most of my advertising. That's how our company's ran. So one Filipino, the VA, but everyone else is American, right? We're an American-based company, we're an American furniture company, been in business for 8 years. And so, excuse me, guys, I'm an authority on the subject. I've worked in manufacturing my entire life. It's all I've ever done. And I've always worked in high-end American-made stuff. I haven't done a lot of foreign stuff, which is great. It's a great way to make a middle-class living, but we need more people making American stuff. And everyone always tells you it's going to be more expensive. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, it will be more expensive, right? You will be able to buy less, but the stuff that you buy will be of much better quality, and you will have much more variety, right? We had a person who commented earlier about how everything kind of looks the same, and it's true, because your big furniture companies, your what I call big furniture, right? These, whatever, half a dozen people, all their shit's getting made in the same place, so they're just basically just kind of stealing ideas from each other, but it's all being made in Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, China, and some of it is made in America, there's no doubt about it, but that's what we're talking about today. Okay, Buffalo Blanco says, America has lifted our standard of living, unlike other countries, and we export our dollars and kept their gold. Wow, that's pretty insightful, man. That's 100% true. You are 100% right. I'm going to read your comment one more time. America has lifted the standard of living. Unlike other countries, we have exported our dollars and kept our gold. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm reading this right, Buffalo. So America our rising tide has lifted the boats of the entire world. America is the single greatest source of getting people out of poverty that's ever existed in the history of humanity. We have basically brought the entire world, we've drugged the entire world along. Of course, it started with Europe, and then America, we just nuked everyone, no pun intended, and we dominated. It was the Marshall Plan that basically allowed Europe to fucking become anything again. If it hadn't been for the Marshall Plan, Europe would fucking still be rebuilding probably. But America just walked away with all of the spoils, and yeah, what Buffalo's saying there is 100% right. Like, we exported gobs of dollars, right? We gave everyone the dollars, they bought our bonds, we just exported tons of dollars, we got all the gold, and these people used all this money to build factories and to provide service to their people, to create industries, all these kind of things, and that's a net good for everybody. But here's the disgusting thing, guys, and this isn't my idea. Chamath Palihapitiya has talked about this, who was one of the original people at Facebook. He's got a podcast called the All In Podcast. Smart guy. I like him quite a bit. He's, I believe, Sri Lankan, maybe? I forget exactly where he's from. But anyway, he did the travel from his foreign country. I think he went to Canada, and then he made it in here to America. But what he's talked about is, and God, I hope I'm attributing this correctly. What he's talked about is a lot of companies in America have given up on America. And Apple was I believe Apple was the company that they were referencing when they were talking about this. These companies have given up on developing American people, the American people, right? We cost too much money. We want too much shit. We're too expensive from a healthcare standpoint. We want too much money for retirement. And so they invested in other countries. We exported all of our IP, right? The stuff that we developed here in America through blood, sweat, and tears. We exported all that shit to other countries. And we did it so our fucking stock price would go up, okay? They've done this stuff for so long now that now America has to compete with everybody, right? Which is why they're pushing so hard with this AI thing, is because America no longer wants to compete with other countries, right? So if you guys will notice, something that's not talked about a lot, I own a Tesla, right? Like my wife likes that shit, likes those kind of cars. You guys notice there's no foreign electric vehicles, right? Like, yeah, there's Mercedes, and I don't know if BMW even has one anymore, but Kia might have one. But the big daddy is not allowed to sell here. Like, they won't let it in here because they know that it would devastate our market, right? That company is BYD. You guys know who the biggest shareholder of BYD is? That would be Warren Buffett, right? So BYD, for some reason, has a lot of great technology. They're able to make cars for like 15 grand, like 20 grand, like really cheap. for some reason, our government is very interested in not letting that industry infect America, right? So that you can buy your Teslas and your Benzes and your Kias and your, what's the OG one, the Leaf, that shit box? Yeah, so they're interested there, right? They're protecting what we have here in America, right? And Mercedes has American manufacturing plants, BMW has American manufacturing plants, and so these people get to operate here. BYD can't, right? Furniture, it's not like that, right? Furniture, any swinging dick with a table saw can import as much shit as they want into our country. They don't care. Like, bring it in here, whatever. No one gives a shit. But for some reason, we care about that one. The AI thing, same thing. Suddenly, we're not going to let foreign chips in here. We're not going to allow the export of our chips. Like, there's a little bit more protectionism going on. Those industries are okay, right? Because they're cutting edge, right? Don't use a lot of people, by the way, but they're cutting edge. Yeah, you want to bring furniture in here? Go for it. You know, it doesn't matter if it's made of bullshit wood that doesn't exist here. There's fucking chemicals. It doesn't matter if people die over there all the time. Dirty shit runs through the streets. You got to work mandatory 12 hours a day. You can't sue your employer if your employer makes you do something, you know, that's wildly unsafe. None of that shit applies over there. If you're, I mean, who's that investor guy that's on Shark Tank? I always forget his name. Anyway, he's real popular. He's an investor guy. He's always talking about how he's started companies, and what happens is companies over in China will take your product you make in America. If it's manufactured over there, they'll take the product, they'll just remanufacture it, and then they'll sell it back into America. And there's no American institution or department that goes, hey, motherfucker, like, we're coming after you. You can't do it. China says, go fuck yourself. You're not coming after our companies. Like, suck my China dick. Not going to happen. You know, but you would think that America would say, okay, great, here's my big American cock. You can't sell anything here, right? Which is kind of what Trump is doing right now, right? Nobody's saying that, you know? It's not good, guys. So there's a lot of things going on in this back and forth between these different countries. And I keep referencing China because they're obviously the big dog. But Vietnam, it plays much nicer with America, but you don't see a lot of American products being sold in Vietnam, right? Like, Trump's always talking about, we want to be able to sell our products there. We want access to your market. No one can afford our shit over there. It's too expensive. So it's a non-issue. But their dirt cheap labor is super valuable to our business owners, right? Which none of these people are actually business owners. They're just MBAs that became CEOs. None of these motherfuckers found a company, right? The reason people hate Elon Musk so much is because Elon Musk will risk everything, and they don't like the fact that when Elon Musk says, hey, Bob Iger, go fuck yourself, they don't like that kind of stuff, you know? And Elon, because he owns the company, when they're saying, oh, we're going to pull your advertising, he'll say, good, suck my dick. And then, oh, you can't say that. That's terrible. He says, bitch, I founded this company. You know, when they come after him, like, he fights back even harder, right? He'll go on Twitter, whatever we'll call it, and he'll go on the news, he'll go wherever he has to go, and he'll take these people to task. And we don't have enough of that. Everybody plays nice. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Can't do that. These MBAs and these people that basically were handed these companies, they're all pussies. They're not fighting for you. They're not fighting for the American worker. Like, you think Elon Musk is going to let BYD come into America and put his company out of business by selling $15,000 cars? Like, he's going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that never fucking happens. You know, and you might say, oh, he wants to protect his own company. Like, no, those are your jobs. Like, and again, you don't have to like the guy. You don't have to agree with his business practices, whatever. But at least he's fighting to keep his product here in America, right? And he was, oh, he makes products overseas. No shit. Everybody makes products overseas, right? But he also is one of the largest car companies here in America. Guy makes all kinds of crazy shit. Flies all of our stuff into space. Like, again, you don't have to agree with the guy, but you have to admit that he fights for America. You know, your corporate CEOs, they're all pussies. They're all soulless, spineless, degenerate, like, just pieces of shit. I despise these people. I just despise. Like, go listen to the CEO of Restoration Hardware. I listen to so many YouTube videos of this guy. Listen to this guy and just how he talks. Like, it just drives me crazy, you know? Whereas then go listen to a conversation with the guy that is the CEO of Bassett. These are two completely different conversations. Completely different conversations. You got one guy that loves America and is doing everything he can to create American jobs. You know, and you got another guy who's talking about how great his stores are and how much his customers love his stores. And oh yeah, we're kind of expanding these other countries. Doesn't want to talk about that. Meanwhile, the guy from Bassett loves talking about his people, loves talking about his factory, loves talking about how hard it is for him to start new factories. You know, so very different. So, sorry guys, I know I'm ranting a little bit. I'm getting long-winded here. I'm actually going to probably lose my voice at some point. I appreciate everyone being in the stream today. Hit the like button, add the discussion. This is clearly a popular topic. While you guys are in the stream, if there's any topics you want me to talk about, I try and do a talk most days. I talk about something related to the furniture business, related to the business of, you know, normie people, like people that didn't go to have a high-class education, didn't come from wealth, all these kind of things. I try to talk about from that standpoint because that's my experience, you know. So, okay, see. I doubt Fort Knox has gold. Yeah, son, we don't have to talk about it. I don't know if Fort Knox has gold in it. I'm sure it does. There's a great story, son. There's a story. Apparently, was it back in the, I forget what it was, like the 70s or something like that? When we went off the gold standard, I think, wasn't it like France or someone showed up with their fucking Navy demanding their gold from us? Like, there's some crazy stories out there about the whole gold situation. Like, I don't know if any of that stuff's true. Okay, Buffalo Bronco, but the belief, us having the gold is what matters, not, yeah, and that's 100%, man. Whatever you can convince people of, right? Whatever you can make the popular opinion, and plus, like, if you give other people so much other shit to worry about, like, who cares about gold in Fort Knox? Like, does any normie in America care about that shit? I don't. I just can't afford anything. Like, give me some gold. I've never seen a piece of gold in my life. I've never even had a gold ring. Like, I don't even know what the fuck gold is. Like, it's just, you know, Fugazi thing that, was it Wolf of Wall Street? Fugazi. Like, stuff's like way over my head, man. Okay, Mickey Langelo. Bedimer Furniture is a little dark. I don't know what that means. Bedimer, is that a furniture company? Let's make an airship and fly over the Great Lakes. I say again, I don't know what any of that stuff means. Not sure where you're going, but appreciate the comments. Let's see here. We got Salina. Oh, Salina Girl, you're back in here. Salina Girl 69. Good to see you. Let's see here. We are also out and get the biz. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying there, but I will come back. All right, guys, I got 20% left on my phone. You guys can have all 20% on my phone, but when my phone dies, the stream ends. So we're at well over 2 hours at this point, so I've never done a talk this long, but people care about this topic, and this is a really important topic to me. So, okay, King Jameson. The unfortunate thing is that the American-made expensive couch just isn't within most Americans' price range. The price of American and quality furniture is very, yeah, no, but that's 100% right. But I'm here to tell you guys, again, this is my business, okay? The reason you can't afford anything, guys, is because there aren't enough people making furniture, right? If you didn't have access to a $500 couch, if all couches were just $2,000, no one would think that couches are expensive. Like, they would think that it's a couch. Like, I gotta go buy a couch. I need a couch, you know, or I'm gonna go buy a used couch, right? But because you have access to this dirt cheap product, which is not helping your fellow Americans, right? It's not helping your taxes. It's not helping teach your citizens how to do something. It's not teaching your kids how to do something. Like, that's a whole other discussion. Because you have access to such a cheap product, you don't know any different, right? You don't know that the quality between a $2,000 couch and a $500 couch is pretty significant, right? It's not like massive, but it is definitely significant. But this one over here, the $2,000 couch, puts your citizens to work. You know, what you don't understand is that every dollar you spend right now, like, your tax dollars are going to fund other countries. Like, you're paying for all these people. The furniture industry that I'm talking about right now was funded by you. You paid for all of the factories in Vietnam. You paid for all the factories in China. You guys paid for all this shit. You know, you just didn't realize it, you know? And you paid for it so you could have cheap couches, right? You got cheap couches, but no one knows how to make a fucking couch anymore, right? So the only option you have is the foreign-made couch. And oh yeah, not only do they make the $350 couch, they make the fucking $5,000 couch too. But meanwhile, nobody in your neck of the woods knows how to make couches. You know, this company here makes all of them. You know, and again, it's like 7 or 8 mega companies in Vietnam that are making everything for 24 American furniture companies. You know, it's a crime. It's a freaking crime, guys. You know, so, and yes, I know that Americans can't afford anything right now. It's not just couches. It could be, you know, whatever, cars, houses, you know, name it, vacations, whatever. The reason you can't afford anything, guys, is because the dollar was destroyed during COVID. Like, it started during the great financial crisis in 2008, but it was on steroids, guys. Like, all the money you got, like when you were sitting at home during COVID, you weren't building your skills. You weren't building your businesses. You weren't doing anything. You weren't making anything, right? The foreign countries were making everything. Like, you guys noticed during COVID, the local hardware store, you know, probably wasn't even open, but fucking Home Depot was open. And guess where all the stuff from Home Depot comes from? China, right? Like, China was working. Vietnam was working. You know, meanwhile, your government was handing you guys shit tons of money to go out and buy shit, which drove the price of everything up because nothing was fucking being made. Like, if you don't work, you get no money, right? And that's the thing that they could not have happen. They could not have you say, you know what? I need a paycheck. I got to go to work. I got to go make some shit because I need some money. The government's like, nah, stay home. Stay home. Meanwhile, Home Depot stock through the roof. Restoration Hardware stock through the roof. Everyone's stock through the freaking roof. Your local business may be bankrupt. You know, and that's why you can't afford anything right now, guys. Like, it just, when you take that much money, like Elon had the best quote ever. You know, he said there's no horn of plenty. If you don't make stuff, there is no stuff. You know, and the only way you get stuff made is to get paid, right? Like, I don't work for free. You don't work for free. Unless the federal government comes in and just prints money. The federal government doesn't have money if nobody's working. You know, so that's why everything's so expensive, guys. It has nothing to do with large corporations and their greed. It's most of it has to do with your federal government's policies on spending, on printing money, and on regulations. You know, because again, if you and I could easily start a business in our garage. Like, how many times have I told you guys how to start a website? How many times have I told you guys how to do marketing on Meta, on Google? You know, I've told you guys all these things. Like, if it was easier to do that, you could give these companies a run for their money. You know, like I said, I'm 8 years in business. Like, I'm waiting for the day that a furniture company calls me and says, you know what, Eric, like, we can't figure out the social media thing. Like, our fucking sales are not good. You know, we got a great product. Everyone loves our product. We've been doing it forever. We got great craftspeople, but people don't want our furniture anymore. You know, I can then say, hey, you know what? Let's talk. You know, people love my furniture. I got a great young crew. I got a great product. I know how to ship it all over America. Like, I've got some of that figured out. You know, like, let's collaborate, figure something out, and then maybe my business grows, helps their business grow. Maybe we bring on a local company. You know, we need someone, like, I'm always needing people. I need people to make case goods. I need people to do turning. You know, I need people to know how to do upholstery work. I need people to know how to paint. Like, I literally just hired a guy who used to work for me, started his own company doing finishing work, right? I hired the guy to help me out with some stain pieces. Like, I'm not good at doing matching colors with stains. You know, he's better at it than I am. I just hired him. You know, what if that guy had never had the opportunity to come work for me and learn about furniture, right? Or, and not say learn it all from me, you probably learned it from other places too, but that's how it works, guys. Like, small companies hire other small companies. Big companies hire small companies for sure, but they also hire a lot of foreign companies, and more foreign companies than American companies. And that's the thing we gotta figure this thing out, guys. We can't just let these mega corporations hire fucking all these people from overseas. You know, it's just, we got to do something about it at some point. So, all right, more comments. All right, work my way through this stuff. Salina Girl, interior cabinetry looks like it's in depression. No, interior cabinetry is doing okay, guys. Furniture industry is doing good. And I've told you guys, there's good, better, and best. And if you're operating the best tier or the better tier, you're doing okay. Wealthy people are spending. All the kids are going back to school, which means all the wealthy people, the designers, are thinking about the holidays. You know, so they're going to want to get their kitchens redone, their bathrooms redone. They're going to need new furniture. They're going to need all kinds of things. You know, they're going to need new trim goods, get their staircases redone. This is how it works, guys, unfortunately. So the furniture industry, at least on my end, is doing just fine. It's not as busy as I would like to be, but we're paying the bills. You know, like I went to lunch today. I went to the Mexican restaurant up the road. Like, it's okay. It'll get better. Okay. Steve Palmer. Okay. See, that's not how it works. Not everyone can just start a furniture company. No. And again, no. And Steve, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. It is very difficult, and I failed 3 times at it. You know, but everywhere I've ever lived, I always had a garage, and someone would see me tinkering with something in my garage, and before you know it, I go, say, hey man, You need a drawer box fixed. Yeah, I'll fix that for you. You know, give me $50. You know, and then I got this. My wife wants a new vanity, you know, but we went to Home Depot. They don't have the, you know, the good size. They're like, can you make me something? Like, yeah, it'd be $1,200, you know. Now I sell vanities for $8,000. And this is how it starts. It doesn't matter what your industry is. It could be, you make fucking t-shirts. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you do, doing yard work. You work on your home. You put up a new fence, right? I mean, last time I put up a fence at my house, I had a guy literally come over and say, hey, man, you want to put up a fence for me? And I was like, well, not really. I don't really do fences, you know. I'm a furniture maker, you know. But you do these things. People start to see you doing stuff, but you have to do it. And this is where I think most people get fucked up. I think most people think that they're good at something, but they're really not. You know, you get people have these pie in the sky. I don't know how many people I've heard that want to make, for some reason, t-shirts. They think, I want to do clothing. It's like, okay, well, what do you do during the day? Oh, I work customer support. Like, what the fuck are you doing working customer support? You want to get into t-shirts. Why don't you work for a t-shirt company? Oh, it doesn't pay enough money. Okay, well, how are you going to get good at making t-shirts? How are you going to learn the t-shirt industry if you're fucking doing customer service? You know, and like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell you guys to do this stuff, but I know that I've said many times, like, if you're a 30-something, you know, you got some bills, you're doing a job you don't like. If you can go work for someone doing something you like to do, I don't care if you got to move home. Move home. Move in with your brother. Move in with your sister. Move with your grandma if you have to. If you really want it that bad, go do it. You know, it's, again, it gets harder as you get older. If you got kids, it's hard. You got animals and pets and shit like that. Like, I get it. It's difficult. It's not easy. But if the answer is just to outsource everything in another country, you're fucked. You know, you think you don't have as much opportunity today, you're fucked. Like, it'll be impossible. It'll be impossible. You know, like, you know how hard it is for me to sell lacquered furniture into the state of California right now? It's very difficult. Everyone in that state is brainwashed. They think that lacquered furniture is going to kill them. Like, the minute it comes in their home, they're going to get gassed out. They want to know if it's cured for 3 months. Like, trust me, like, things can get really rough, guys. They're rough now. They can get worse, I promise. So yeah, it's not easy, Steve, but it's not impossible. But we got to work on it. So anyway, the culture of the American consumer is that they want their. Do you have any understanding of what the median salary? I think the median salary in America is something like, was it like 50-some grand? You know, somewhere in there. Might even be closer to 60. I want to say it's like in the 50s though, if I'm not mistaken. It's not high enough to live, you know, and I get it. But it wasn't always that way. And I'm telling you, it doesn't need to be that way. But we got to get back to doing tangible things. And we got to get back to living in homes again, you know. And again, I hear people, I can't do this, I can't do that. The driveway's fucked up, you know. The windows are all rotted out, you know. The sills are rotted out, you know. The roof needs work. And like, okay, well, great. Those are the houses I look for. Like, because again, I can buy those things up cheap and fix them up, you know. I don't know. I don't want to tell you, Steve. Like I said, you can't win with everyone. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everyone hanging out today. I don't know if I'm going to make it through all my comments. I just got so many of them in this feed. I like to try and get through them all. My battery's about to die on my phone, and I could really use a glass of water, to be honest with you. I think we did, what did you do, 150 minutes? Like, that's a long talk. Like I said, I'm happy to do more of these talks. I do them most days of the week. I try to do them around 5 most days. Sometimes I do them at noon. But hang out, you know, talk, see what we got going on. Go to theresplendentcrow.com, see our furniture. Go to theresplendent.home.com if you want to read about design, the furniture we sell. Modern Woodrunner on YouTube or Resplendent Crow on YouTube, Resplendent Crow on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. And like I said, I'm not trying to sell you guys nothing. There's no hawking shit. It's just furniture. We just sell furniture. But there's many ways to make money, guys, and it takes a long time, and you're not going to get rich, but it can be done, and I'll continue to talk about this stuff most of the week. So everyone have a great night, and I will yak to y'all later.